if I do.
Are you ready? Covino and Rich. Are you ready?
Honestly, how do I deal with you every day?
Get ready. Now.
Turn on down on the radio.
Get ready.
Whoa! Yeah!
Holy mother nugget! And holy mother meatball!
I'm the smartest man alive! You're so ridiculous. What? You're such a fool. Get out of here.
No, I'm a disc jockey.
What's a disc jockey?
Turn it up. We're doing a show. Here we go. Covino and Rich.
Let's go!
Well, another week of action-packed Covino and Rich shows. Let's go. Another month. March 6th. 6th of the March. It's the 6th of the March. It's my parents' 47th wedding anniversary. Today? Congratulations. Wow. Big Steve and Hortensia. I think they're going to make it. Been doing it a long time. I think the couple's going to last. I don't know how they did it, but God bless. Cheers to them. Hope they had a nice weekend. Hope they have a nice day. At what length of time is a couple together? There's no way they're breaking up. I don't know, but I'm rocking out on their behalf. All right, rock out. Sometimes you see a couple and it's like, after 25 years, they're getting divorced. It's like, really? Only made it this long. So, happy anniversary to them and to everybody hanging out with us.
I don't think there's any safe time period anymore.
Yeah. I discovered myself, but you're 74.
Hey.
I want to be me. Well, they're not 70 yet. I need to bump up my body count. What? Don't rush them. Time's flying. It bothers me a lot. Yeah. It'll be here before you know it. So anyway. I sent my buddies a picture the other day. Actually, yesterday.
Of?
My buddies.
Goatsy? Did you send them all the goatsy?
I sent them a picture of my balls, and I'm like, look at 10 years ago compared to now and how my balls have sagged a little. And that's what I did. They're even more wrinkly. No, I hit up my Mets pals, Rob, our friend Siri, and Lozito, and it was like, on this day in 2016, you were at spring training in Florida hanging with your buds. And I'm like, this pic's, here, Spot, I'll send it to the text massage. I said, this picture 7 years ago, I was 36, and I was like, yeah, dude, that was 36. I was 36. Well, this goes along with something that is always on our mind, but it's a question of, when did you stop? When did you stop caring? Bro, I know Rich wants to get to that. It's the number one thing I wrote down today. And don't worry, this is not going to be a coming-of-age show the whole show. No, but I hope you had a great weekend of Bones Jones and new heavyweight champion of the world sort of weekend. Hope you enjoyed your Chris Rock specials. I hope you enjoyed The Last of Us. I have a theory on the Chris Rock. Yeah, everybody does. So we got lots to get to, lots of nonsense. Rich asks the question to you. So when did you stop? And, oh yeah, Rich, I wanted to give you this back too. This is an edible. Ben, stay away from these. Oh, yeah. I'll take one, that. That's the devil right there.
What is that?
In a little Ziploc baggie. It's a wild indica. Yeah. That shit is too wild for me. What flavor? That's probably the wild cherry, I'd imagine. It's called, I think that flavor is called childhood trauma.
Did you sing
that flavor right there? Oh, yeah.
Did you sing Play That Funky Music as you ate that?
Oh, man, that shit was too wild for me. So he gave me two. I give one back because no, thank you. No. That one's called Unaddressed Issues. One's called Freak Out. That one's called
Anxiety
Anxiety Stimulator for sure. Also, you took the anxiety stimulator? Here you go. No, thank you. I hope you enjoyed. You know, Michael Mauser hit me up over the weekend. He said, hey, A&E's back with new documentaries. The Jake the Snake documentaries. Oh, yeah. Dude, talk about the most in-depth and great documentaries on a I don't mean this by any means to be a diss, but like on a wrestler. It was like such a great in-depth documentary. A&E is going next level with their docuseries about the WWE legends, WWF legends. Jake the Snake one was awesome. I watched that this weekend. So whatever you did this weekend, shopping, hanging out with the family, I hope you had a nice one. funny you should say that because I've watched a lot of the wrestling ones. My buddies that are really into wrestling,
the new ones are,
hit me
are
up.
great.
Biography WWE, Jake the Snake is worth watching.
Sick.
My buddy Walter said, "Holy shit, Jake had a tough life.
Tough life.
Everything from, I mean,
dad
not
was
to
a
give
piece
away,
of shit.
not to give away much, but he's like, Jake's dad was raping the mom and then beating him, and like just like
and his
Jake
dad
the
was
Snake.
7 foot tall. And he was a wrestler. Yeah, you get the whole backstory. And you've seen lots of footage of Jake the Snake and his climb back to sobriety and him working out with Diamond Dallas Page and the yoga and everything and how his life became a train wreck. This is the whole backstory leading up to all that. Again, it's new and it's great. So whatever you watch this weekend, enjoy it.
By the way, do you think you had an issue with the edible because you were alone? That's a great question from
I wasn't alone.
Zush.
I was hanging out with Theo. And he was looking at me like, Papa?
No, but if you take an edible while you're alone versus with some friends or Jordan, like it's a different vibe. It's like you're sitting alone.
Nah, it was a nightmare.
That's a big difference.
It's horrible.
No, I think
It's like drinking alone or drinking with your friends.
I can't believe you take 1.5 of those. You're a maniac. No thanks.
No, I don't think that's it.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
If you don't think him being alone in his
It's
thoughts
not.
versus like laughing with friends is a variable?
I'm sure he was like watching something.
Yeah, but it's a variable. That's like saying
I
if
was
you get,
watching time go by so slowly when I
Bro.
was in my thoughts.
that's like saying you got buzzed by yourself. That's sad. Getting buzzed with your friends, laughing at the bar.
I like a good drink
It's
by
fun.
myself.
No, I don't like the fool, so I'm more in my head when I'm like, yeah, I'm not right now. This is not good. I don't like it. But again, rando news. It was all about, for the most part, for me, and I think for most of the world, besides like living your life and family, UFC 285 and Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Everybody talking about Chris Rock.
And you know
Everyone
what?
I know, and everyone in my world anyway, Chris Rock.
And just to show
In
you.
my algorithm of life.
And just to show you how people are so different. And by the way, Spot, I sent you that picture that was 7 years ago. You guys probably feel like you were hearing me talk about this yesterday because that's how I feel. So maybe I'm way off, but me talking about going to Florida to hang out for Met spring training with the Ball Busters, does that feel like 7 years ago to you?
Well, because it was before
7
the
years?
pandemic. Pandemic makes everything feel weird.
That was 7 years ago. That feels like
robbed of
7
2 years.
That feels like 7 years ago to
We
you?
all aged 2 years and didn't know it.
Well, yeah, I remember it. I remember this.
Yeah, but Spot, does that, I mean, again,
remember-
not to harp on it, but that feels like 7 years ago to you?
Yeah, because I remember we were. I even remember you did the show remotely from that place,
From like an ESPN,
From an ESPN
lounge
place.
or something, yeah.
and I remember we were in our very first LA studio when we did that show. That's how I put the timestamp on it.
I'm starting to forget things like that too, though, Rich. Or getting confused. Like I was thinking about Eric Andre. And I'm like, wait, did we have Eric Andre on our show? How do I not know that? I love Eric Andre.
You of all people remember every
Yeah.
single person that has walked in
So
the studio.
time's flying. We're meeting too many people. There's been different chapters. We've closed chapters.
Even
It
something
messes
as-
with your memories.
Even something as dumb as my 20-year reunion, someone made a reference to the other day. They're like, oh, what was the last time you saw, I don't know, but John? I was like, oh, I saw him recently. He was at the 20-year reunion. And I'm like, well, the 20-year reunion, I graduated in 97. Wait, 2017. That was 6 years ago? Shit like that. It's more than ever. The end.
Pandemic, it makes it worse, I'm telling you.
I won't
It's like
I won't harp
it's like
on it. but
adding
yeah.
2 years of aging and memories that were lost. It's crazy. It's like, wait, I didn't have any memories, but I aged 2 extra years, almost 3 because of the pandemic. That fucked everybody up. We say it all the time, but it is a baffling thing. And coming back from the weekend, you think a lot, and these thoughts cross your mind. And EJ Reese says, no Chris Rock spoilers. Fucking kidding me? Let's
Yeah,
hold up the
I hope
show.
I hope he's joking.
Let's hold up the show for people who didn't watch. And do you look on social media? Have you not seen the clips? Give me a break.
Come on. I think he's
Can't pause the
joking.
show. That's what I don't get about people and spoilers too. It's like, if we were really doing a dope ass podcast like we're supposed to be, we'd talk about The Last of Us, but we cater to you guys. There's shows that dedicate their show to like recapping these things and talking about them, but we put everything on pause for you a lot of times.
But you seek
we're not going
those
to
out.
not talk about it.
Like if you're a Last of Us fan,
Yeah.
you're seeking out the Last of Us
I get
podcast.
it, but you think that everybody's as honed in with their listening audience that they're like, I don't want to fuck it up for them. They're going to talk about what they want to talk about.
Yeah.
They're
true.
not worried about it. They're like, hey, this is what's hot on Monday. That shit just aired yesterday. I'm talking about that shit today.
Yeah,
if anything, we're overly courteous. I mean, if you think we're not going to talk about Chris Rock, honestly, skip the show. You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I mean,
how are you going to ignore that?
The reality is,
It was alive.
you can't. I mean,
but even if you missed it, and that's part of the story here, like you heard someone talk about it. If you didn't, I don't know what planet you live on. So we can't stifle the show because you were busy. And I understand that you were busy, but we can't. And I'm not coming down on EJ Reed. That's something that we hear about all the time.
I never watch anything, as you know. You've been telling me to watch The Last of Us for weeks. But guess what I watched? The Chris Rock special.
oh, nice. Look at that, Spotty. Yo, Spot's on board with something.
Twice, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Oh, I know why. Because he watched it with a
watched it
random
live.
dude and a random woman.
Okay.
And he has both perspectives.
Cute. I watched it live by myself, and then I watched it with Kristen last night.
Oh, wow. So no random ass. Wow, muchacho.
And by the way, I love EJ Reed. He's screaming what everyone yells at us every day. It's like, then what do you want us to talk about? Some shit that you want to talk about reruns of the Brady Bunch?
I want to talk about rerun.
You want to talk about what's happening?
He had a great red beret.
Like, we're trying to stay current. We want you to know what's going on. The Last of Us was great. I felt it was a little too short. Fuck, it's over already. That means it's good.
First time I heard that.
What? Yeah.
Not the first time, yeah. The first time.
Hey, Spot, if I send you a photo, you think you'd be able to just blur out someone's eyes or something so I don't feel like I'm insulting them?
Sure. Just their eyes, though?
Like, I don't know. Like, this past weekend, I think I'm going to go next year. I don't know why. I think it's about time. Because, again, much like this distortion of time Covino talks about.
Distortion of time.
Distortion.
I don't know. COVID. You know what it was like? You remember during the...
It's a good emo band from the early 2000s.
Remember during the turn of the century, we weren't sure how to...
It's like a social distortion.
We weren't sure how to talk
distortion of
about, like,
time.
are these the aughts, the zeros? Because before that, it was like 70s, 80s, 90s. Like, there's time distortions.
I never used the expression aughts.
I know. Like, you know how much like...
Did you?
No, never. But that's what they were, But much like with the COVID time distortion, I do feel like things that were in the 20 teens feel like yesterday and they're not.
It
Like that meme
so hard, man.
Like that meme that says 30 years ago, we're still thinking like, what was that, like 1970 something? No, 30 years ago were the mid 90s.
Yeah.
Like 2018 feels like yesterday. Because that was like our final days at SXM.
What did they say? I saw a meme
That was 2020.
I wanted to send Mark Goodman, but I didn't want Mark
At
Goodman.
the old studio, new studio, those transitional days.
I didn't want Mark Goodman to feel bad about himself, so I didn't send it to him. But I saw a meme. It was a picture of Mark Goodman with his afro for the debut of MTV. And it said, the debut of MTV is further away today than Pearl Harbor was then.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? So Pearl Harbor was closer to the debut of MTV than the debut of MTV is till now.
Yeah, because it was 41 to 81.
What?
And then...
Right? So,
then 81 to 2022.
Fighting Father Time, man.
2023.
So in 1981, we were
my
closer to
subconscious
Pearl
nightmare.
Harbor.
It's why I'm on the fucking Stairmaster every day, just fighting it. It's the worst. It's the weakest.
I started seeing more and more. My mind's going all over the place. So pardon the ADD radio, but not really.
Can you check that? Is that edible still on the desk?
No, this will get me all tired.
Exactly.
You want me to sink into my chair?
No, I want you to like tone it down a half notch.
Yeah, I gotta drive to Fox though, or otherwise I would.
I still think you'll have the energy.
You know what it is, Spot? It's the fact that
It'll bring you to our level.
it's Go Goose Day, and I think he's all fired up about it.
Go Goose Day.
Yeah,
It's Go Goose Day. You're right.
Go Goose Day, according to Rich's dry erase calendar. Not sure what that means, but
Go
gets them all
Goose.
fired up apparently.
My kids write on my calendar, and for some reason today they wrote go and then goose, Goos. Maybe you think Emmy was trying to spell goose or goes?
I have no idea.
It's a great
But
mystery.
tomorrow I'm excited for because tomorrow's Dog Hat Day.
Tomorrow
hat
is
day.
Dog
I
Hat
can't
Day.
wait.
Is Piper going to be wearing a hat?
I know. We're going to have to find her one.
Or
All right, well,
but anyway,
wait, do dogs wear regular hats or do we wear hats that look like dogs? I'm confused. How does Dog Hat Day?
That's a great question.
It's the best story ever.
Please tell me.
Okay, it's the best story ever because this is how I picture it. Here's the dog hat that Rich is supposed to wear tomorrow. Quick story time, fun. I'm trying to fucking wrangle Rich for a second.
Okay.
With the story.
All right.
ADD radio.
Well, that's what people like about us.
Here's a dog. No, nobody likes that. Dog hat.
People
Ready?
like, okay.
Dog hat. Here it is. Liquid Todd, my old pal. Still my pal, but he's old now. Was always doing random things to make an extra buck. And he invented something called street treats.
I remember this.
And they were little coin-operated vending machines, like bubblegum machines, like a quarter. And you get doggy treats. And he would put them all around New York City because people are always walking their dogs, right? Like,
I like it.
little
I like
treats.
it.
Hey, so if you're a little coffee shop, you have your little Liquid Todd street treats vending machine.
It's very smart.
Yeah, it's very, this is
Very
late
Shark-
90s,
very
early
Shark
2000s.
Tanky.
Very Shark Tanky. Like he had this little business idea. No one was doing it really. And, hey, it's like a bubblegum machine for the doggies. We welcome your doggies.
Yeah.
And businesses liked it. But he took these bubblegum machines and he put like doggy heads on top of each one of them. Right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like a wolf sort of hat. He put it on top of every one of these. And he started to notice that the tops were disappearing.
We were stealing them.
And he got into a tussle with some homeless guy because he saw a homeless guy wearing one. He's like, hey! And some guy was wearing a dog.
That's my dog.
Those are my street dog hats. So he came in one day.
Liquid Todd here.
All in a tussle. He was like all scraped up and like all, red and like fucking frantic. I mean, what happened? He's like, I had to run down this guy who was wearing my fucking rubbery, hairy fucking dog head. So tomorrow's dog hat day.
Call Todd.
Wait.
Wish him a happy day tomorrow.
Yeah, dog hat day.
In fact, tomorrow, if you hit up Todd and be like, tomorrow it's dog hat day.
So people were wearing,
See if it triggers
homeless New York pieces of shit were wearing his dog heads, I guess, as hats.
Well, my ADD radio took me to, this past weekend was the college radio station banquet and reunion. And I was like, yeah, it's been a couple of years since I've been back to Syracuse. And again, much like the time warp that we're in,
Time distortion.
the time distortion.
Distortion of time.
By the way, I feel like we talk about it all the time, and I don't hear anyone else talk about it ever.
I hear people talk about it.
Really?
My high school friend. I have friends that are like, yo, where did everyone
On a
not a national level.
on a national level that matters.
I have mutual friends and people we talk to that are like, yo, man, like where did pandemic really fucked up people's time distortion?
yeah, but I absorb a lot of media, and I don't hear anyone else talking about it.
Well, you know what? You're an original. And that goes with something I want to talk about today.
I don't. I feel like I bring it up because it has to be relatable. I can't, and we can't be the only people feeling this way all the time.
Well, when your parents would say things like,
We also reference
I have
things a lot
underwear. I have
more.
underwear older than you. Or, hey, I remember, it feels like yesterday when you were a little kid. And you're like, all right, old guy. And now you're feeling those things. Like
Yeah.
when you said Syracuse, or I say Syracuse, and this past weekend was the banquet where all the college radio alum and the current students get together. It's a big banquet deal. I was like, you know what? Maybe next year I think I'll go back. It's in March every year. I'll plan ahead. Maybe I know Samson went up this year. Zito, maybe I'll ask Zito if he wants to take the ride. And I'm like, maybe I'll do it. It's been a while. I'm like, it's got to be like 5 years or something. Then I'm like, 5 years? Hold on now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been in LA for over 7. And I know I haven't traveled from Los Angeles to Syracuse. So it's easily 7. Then I'm like, all right, now let me go back to New York. Well, I know I didn't go when I was working at like SNY or something because I would have been, wouldn't have worked. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I always remember SNY was 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So that was 10 years ago.
So then I start looking at my phone. I'm like, I searched Syracuse. I'm like, no pictures are coming up. I'm like, that means it's prior to 2013 because that's when I started. That's when I have all, wait, hold on now. And I looked back and I had a Facebook memory where it said, I sent it to Mark Zito yesterday. I was like, no way. March 5th, yesterday, 2010. Headed to Syracuse after Covino and Rich today. Going to attempt to party like a college kid with at Mark Zito, at Sarah Hoots, and at the Morning Mashup because that was the year like Stan and Ryan came up. I haven't been to Syracuse in 13 years. And that to me was like one of those, what? So I went to Syracuse when I was 30. I'm 43 now. I haven't been back to my college since I was 30 years old. So then it got me thinking, again, time distortion. And I saw some pictures from the alumni. Spot, I sent you the picture. I don't want to be rude to this guy.
Yeah, how do you want me to blur? I had to ask you. How do you
what's the least rude way to be like, yo, these guys look old as hell?
I mean, you said blur them
Their
out.
eyes, I don't know. Like, no one knows who the fuck they are, but they're nice guys, so I don't want to be a douche. Like, Covino the other day sent me a picture of a
Can
guy.
I just show them? I mean, I can blur out whatever you want me to.
Yeah,
it's just
I don't
not
know.
going
It
to
just
show.
feels like, doesn't it feel rude?
So then you shouldn't have showed the photo at all, because you know what makes them old is their entire face. So if I blur out anything, you're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, now I'll never be welcomed by the Alumni Association.
You're not going to get the full experience.
I know. Just show it then, because these are two guys that I very much respect. In fact, keep this in mind. When I was in college,
Can add hair to them.
when I was in college, these guys were 2 years younger than me. So I started the college radio station a year late. So when I got in there, we were sort of on the same track. Like, I remember these guys were the up-and-comers with me in radio, where one of these guys was the program director of my college radio station when I was there. Like, a guy that I respect, a guy I like, but he was younger than me. In fact, he got inducted into the college radio station Hall of Fame this year.
And by the way, back then, if someone was younger or older than you,
It felt like that.
yeah, like I lived in a dorm college apartment with seniors, and I was like a junior or something, or a sophomore. I felt like they were old men. Honestly, I was like, these guys are like way old. Your references were off. Your perspective was,
when you're
was
talking
way
about
off.
timestamps, and I promise you, we won't harp on this for all 2+ hours of today's show, but Spot, when was your heart surgery? Just to give more timestamps of like, what?
October 2017.
20 what?
2017.
So you had your heart surgery 6 years ago.
So 5.5. Yeah.
My divorce that Rich brings up every day, 2016. Been bringing it up every day since 2016.
Yeah. Every day since.
Hottest topic. Hot topic.
I was listening to a clip of us the other day. I can't remember for the life of me what it was, but it was from 2008. And I was like, Jesus.
To quote Lonnie, I don't want to be rude, so I'll just say they look old as hell. I guess that is what I did. We're all getting older looking.
May I show them?
But yeah, these are guys, Spot, that, again, 2 grades lower than me that I worked with at the college radio station, and they're really good dudes. And at first I'm like, who are they? Oh, wait, that's him and him? Oh, man. Maybe this is what a 40-year-old looks like, and maybe I should feel good about myself, or maybe not. I don't know. These are dudes that I went to college with that were younger than me.
Yeah, that sucks.
And I'm like, they're good dudes, but I don't know.
If you
You don't have to harp on it too much, Mike.
Do you want them with hair? Here, I put them. I gave them
Thanks.
hair.
See, there you go,
Much
Spot.
better.
Thank
I
you.
gave them hair so they look a little
But
younger.
those are good dudes that, like, I remember when they were like 18-year-old college students, and I'm like, wow.
You know what it is? Everybody ages differently. And then there's people that make a concerted effort to actually fight and stay young and relevant. So you got 2 extremes, right, going on. Someone who's trying versus people who are losing to father time, because everybody ages different.
Yeah, and I'm sure
I had this conversation last night. Jordan's like,
I'll hit a wall.
Guess how old Pedro Pascal is? I was like, 47. And she didn't realize, she still thought I was 45. So she's in a time distortion herself. And I'm like, no, we would have graduated together. We're the same age. And she had a total mental flip out of like, fuck, you're getting old as fuck. You're as old as that guy? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you better get your shit frozen, your sperm frozen or something if you plan on having kids. And then it turns into that conversation because time's a flying. That's why.
Yeah. So anyway, long story
And then
short
when you
is that
see other people remind you of how old you really are and
Yeah.
how fast time is going.
I think that's
that
the
could be
point.
your kids, like how big they're getting, and that could be your buddy when you see how old he's getting.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't-
holy shit, what the fuck?
it's not.
I see that all the time, man. When I look,
It's
I
not
think
an
Rich
attempt to
and
be. It's not an attempt to be mean. By showing that picture, I'm just, for the people that have tier 2 that are watching it. Just, I see those guys and I'm like, oh, those are like the college kids I knew, and I'm like, wait a minute. If you didn't know them when I knew them, if you saw them on the street, you'd be like, who are those 2 guys? Who are those 2 old guys?
Marlon Wayans talks about it because he just turned 50, and he says he bugs out. I guess everybody has a bug out to some degree, but he sees like his white friends, and his 50-year-old white friends look way fucking older than he does, because the brown don't frown, the black don't crack. And it trips him out all the time because it's a reminder of like, oh shit, that's how much time's gone by. Because look at you. Fuck.
Told you.
And it happens to us a lot. Not that we're the fucking beacon of health, but we're always looking back at old photos. You know, we're always talking to you guys. We're always making these references, and we're always opening up our minds to think, believe it or not. So we're forced to feel these things a lot more maybe than the average person, but Father Time is always on the mind.
In the dating scene on these apps, I told you see people that are 35 and they look 55. And then you see people that are 40 and they look, 35.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
It's like, I like to think that I look my age, maybe a little bit younger, but you should, some of these people that they're old men with gray hair, balding, and they're 35.
And dating someone younger, I'm constantly reminded of how much older I am.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'll make a reference. She doesn't even know what I'm talking about.
Just a reference that we make a lot, and it does have to do with we're all getting older. And I know people will probably say, man, Covino and Rich are really hung up on this. You know what it is? It's just a matter of...
they are. I hate it.
I am hung up on it. So yeah, that is the truth. But it's
I'm not gonna lie.
it's a situation where I look at myself and I'm like, am I delusional? Do I feel I feel that I look younger than maybe I am? And then there's other times where I'm like, I'm starting to get more and more grays, and I'm like, when am I gonna? When is it gonna get to the point where I'm like, yeah, that's it, and that's my look. I don't know. Yeah, I think no one. I think no one knows.
The trouble I see.
The trouble I see. Yeah. No,
I also think I hate to bring the pandemic up, but it really sped up the process for a lot of people. Because you didn't see them maybe for a few years, but they really let themselves go. If someone was living a really healthy life and then they were forced to sit home and not do anything for 2 years, and then they were just drinking and snacking for those 2 years, it really caught up to them.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see that on social media as well. Rich and I, we worked with a person recently, and we're like, oh, whatever. Nice to meet you. We then became social media friends because we were working together. And then we see pictures of them pre-pandemic. We're like, wait, that's the same person? Holy shit.
What?
Those years were not kind to this person, but that's everybody to some degree. That didn't help. It did not help.
Well,
all that boozing you did, all that laying around you did. And I'm speaking, personally. Did not help.
I went the opposite direction.
You're an exception, though.
Well,
you've always said that.
I'll tell you what.
Spot's exceptional.
We are gonna get to everything we did this weekend, including Chris Rock.
Greatest guy.
But I have one fun way to sort of put a little bow on this conversation because it leads into something else I was thinking. And by the way, Chris Rock does point out in his special, he says, I didn't get rich and stay in shape so I could talk about Anita Baker. He's like, I want to talk about Doja Cat. In fact, I want to fight. He said, what did he say? In fact, he wants to get with Doja Cat.
Fuck Doja Cat.
Try to fuck. But yeah, he's like, he's in his 50s. Chris Rock is saying, I didn't get rich and stay in shape so that I could be talking to some old biddy about Anita Baker.
Makes sense.
45, 50.
Well, now you're heading toward the conversation. I guess I could lead you into it. Ready?
Yeah.
This is my reference. We always have go-to references. We've been doing the show long enough where we have our
you have Go Goose references.
Our Go Goose, because it's Go Goose Day, March 6th, according to Rich's calendar. We have our go-to and our Go Goo references. And the year was 1990. Actually, the year was early 2000.
The year was,
when did Hybrid Theory come out, Spot? Can you look that up? Linkin Park Hybrid Theory. Had to be
I got it.
2000, 2001. And that's my go-to reference because I remember I graduated high school in 1994. Okay, so ready? Graduated high school in 1994.
2000.
Class of 94, out the door in 94.
right around Halloween, by the way. October
24th.
6 years later. So hold on, now get into that mindset. I graduated high school in 94. Junior high was all about Pearl Jam, Nirvana, right? But that was still very much the feeling and vibe of when we graduated, right? 94. I think your fucking favorite ass Mr. Jones song came out, right?
Mr. Jones and me.
Yeah, right. 94. Forrest Gump, all that shit.
94. Steve Young wins the Super Bowl, gets the monkey off his back.
94. You know, we're still
94.
grunging it out a little bit.
Michael Jordan left basketball.
Yeah. Fast forward, the year's 2000. I go to hang out with my high school friends. I worked a lot.
Baseball
from 94
strike,
to
by the way.
2000. I was already graduated. I graduated in 98 in college, right? So I'm already 2 years into the workforce. But 6 years had passed. I didn't hang out with my high school friends as much because I was always working. Went to hang out with my high school friends again. And I'm like, yo, bro.
94, also the year you won the hog off. How could you forget that?
Hog off champ.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, guys, New Lincoln Park. Am I right? Am I right? Huh, man? Oh. I felt like I was talking to a fucking bunch of old guys that hadn't listened to anything new since they were still
on the Porsche, on a Porsche.
they were still mentally they were still I swear to you. So and then I realized like, oh wait a second. My high school friends, I'm looking at them now and I'm like, they're still wearing the same fucking jeans and clothes and still thinking like we did in the 90s. It's 2000. Holy shit. I am like a mental baby and they're stuck in wherever they fucking left off.
Mental baby.
So, whew, this goes to, this is the alley-oop to Rich. You got me saying alley-oop now. The alley-oop to Rich because that was my very first experience of, wait, I'm evolving in a different way. I'm evolving in a different way because I care about Lincoln Park. These guys don't even know who it is. They didn't know who the fuck it was. That was my first taste of this. And let's see, 94, I was 17. 6 years later.
23.
I'm 23 years old. So I was 23 when I realized, like, I'm still in the game, and these guys are still fucking acting like
At 23, they'd already like
they
stopped.
already like stopped buying jeans and shit. Like they were still rocking the Bob Vila specials.
Well, the reason I'm glad we bring this up is because it's the second week in a row. The second week in a row where something, in my opinion, mainstream pop culture-ish happened. And I know this sounds like a drastic statement. So here we go.
Oh, here we go. Should I put like a fanfare on or something?
Yeah, please do.
Let's see.
I just have a feeling, guys.
Where is it?
By the way, as Spot pulls up the fanfare, Derek Carr to sign with the Saints.
Oh, so there's no
which
Jets,
means
huh?
Jameis Winston is going to be salary capped. Know what I'm saying?
What do you mean, sell?
I mean, he's out.
Yes. Jason, yeah, of course, yeah.
He's a salary cap casualty. If I say capped, like he's decapitated.
So, what's up, Luis Cortez, EJ Reed, Andrew, Mauser, Vic, everyone chiming in already? I have an announcement to make. I'm running out of people to talk to. Me. Social butterfly, Dickie Doo.
Butterflies don't whistle.
A butterfly. What type? Do you want me to make 0 sound effects? Social butterfly. The guy that chit chats and yaps with everyone. The guy that's constantly texting and talking and doing whatever. I feel like 90% of my friends, I'm running. I told Sarah yesterday, I go, babe, you ever think about it how it's just like me and you? She's like, what do you mean? And I explained, and she goes, yeah, I think about that all the time. Meaning like, you better pick a good partner that you could chit chat and talk about things with, because as time goes on, your friends just stop. Not that they're not your friends anymore, but the two examples I'll use. Last week, I'm not expecting everyone to care about boxing, but Jake Paul fought. This week, Chris Rock did a stand-up live special on Netflix. I can't tell you how many times I'll text one of my pals like, yo, what you think?
Well, remember, I came back on Monday telling you the story about how I was talking to Melody's friend's parents about the fight. They didn't know who the fuck he was. And they were parents that are younger than I am.
And
they didn't know who he was. That was the thing. I didn't expect them to care.
I think I realized it when I watched the Chris Rock special. And then I was like, well, shit, hold on now. Who's even going to want to chit chat with me about it? Because I feel like half my friends are like, oh, Chris Rock had a special? I didn't know. Yo, what you think of the Jake Paul fight? Well, who? And I know it's our job to stay in the loop with things, but God, I feel like we're doing like a major service because I feel like so many people have no clue
Yeah, I feel
of what's
a sense
going
of
on.
pride that at least we're keeping thousands of people updated and in the know on something. That's our job. It makes me feel good that we keep people up on things, but it also makes me feel really sad that I actually care about these things and people of my generation don't. And that's how I felt when I was 23. It's not that I knew Linkin Park. I was into it, right? And I was still into the new stuff and I was like living it. I'm like, I love these guys. My buddies didn't know who they were. Weren't even on the radar. So you start losing connection as a result. So if Rich wants to talk about, hey, Chris Rock, and people are like, what? What about him?
Like if I group text a bunch of high school friends, like,
Then you're not connecting.
Chris Rock, what did you guys think? And everyone's like, yeah, what, is he on a show, a movie? What's going on?
Did he die?
Did he die? So
I haven't seen him since, Pootie Tang, maybe. Like, damn, dude.
he made a Pootie Tang reference.
I know. You haven't seen Chris Rock since Pootie Tang?
So
Your life must be busy, bro.
long story short,
Too late.
it just as you get older, I know work, kids, responsibilities, but there are major blind spots when it comes to all my circles of friends as far as what's relevant now. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. You could argue it's definitely because of our job and our career. I know we consume a lot of content, and
But it's who I am, though.
It's who I am too. If I didn't have this job, I'd still be in the loop. Like,
Who are you going to talk to The Bachelor about? Or talk about
I
The Bachelor?
can't wait for Bachelor tonight. Like,
You're gonna talk about it
I
too.
really can't. It
Each other?
excites me. Things that are happening now excite me. That doesn't mean I have to like them, but it excites me because it's a timestamp of what's happening now.
I may
you know
not,
what I mean? Like
I may
whatever
not
live
watch.
event, there's a game tonight. Like,
I may not
how
watch
do you
or
not
care.
about
I
like
may-
what's happening now.
I may not watch or care, but I mean, do you know that the Oscars are next week? I'll probably like half-ass watch it, but do most people know the Oscars? It's March and the Oscars.
Award show season is kind of like you
Oh.
have to be really into that.
Like, even something as simple as like I was
the
talking
other
to
direction. I bet
Dude.
you'll know when the ESPYs are, but we went the other direction. We don't talk about it's the awards of movies and TV that much.
Yo, you guys are my loop. Thank you, Steve Racho. Not that I wanted to hear that, but that's the sense I get. And,
But that's
let's
great.
just keep doing our thing together.
And that's
we
the
can move
service
on.
we provide because it keeps you up on shit. And we talked about it. You're losing connection with your kids. You're losing connection on what's current
And for
what's happening today.
and for as much as the two of you do consume, you still have some blinders on.
Without
So
a
imagine
doubt.
the average person.
Right.
They
Right.
know nothing.
You're absolutely right,
I know
Spot.
what my blind
That's what's
spots are.
shocking about it.
I know my two blind spots. My two blind spots are gaming and superhero movies. But at least I'm aware when the superhero movies come out. I'll make a reference to it when I can. But if it, gaming, I'll admit I'm not in the gaming world at all. In fact, recently one of
but that's an
the salespeople at Fox was like, "Hey, we got some possible commercials come up. Either of you guys gamers?" And I'm
Was
like,
it for Hogwarts Legacy?
and
Get me some free Hogwarts
my
Legacy.
first thought
Yeah,
was
but
like,
it's a matter of knowing and not caring. That's fine.
yeah, I was
At
like,
least
yeah.
you know.
In my mind, I was like, yeah, I was into gaming when I was like 12.
I think if you got into gaming, that could be your like late night thing. After you pop some edibles, you're chilling, just pop on a headset, get your controller, and you just play.
So anyway, I don't give a fuck about the Oscars. I'm just saying it's an example of should we all know it's next week? Probably this week you should if not, you didn't know by now, at some point this week you should be like, oh yeah, next week's the Oscars, the Academy Awards.
Let's go Kihui Kwan.
Not that I give a fuck. It's a matter of being in the loop. It's almost what's Mark Zito's show called again on Sirius?
This
XM?
is happening.
This is happening.
Well, it's
What is Andy Cohen's What's Happening Now, right?
no.
like-
Watch what happens live.
Well, what's happening now?
What's happening now was the reboot of what's happening.
Well, what's happening now is a great message. What's happening now? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know what's happening now. And truthfully,
I think Spot made the best point of all, though. We are not the beacon and gauges of everything current. So how bad is the average guy? We try and make again an effort to stay up on things, and we still are missing out on a lot of things because we're older and we really don't care about those things.
yeah.
So how bad and pathetic and out of the loop is
didn't
the
get
average
it.
fella?
You know what? like for award shows, right? Well, first of all, there's an oversaturation. Now, apparently every award show matters. It used to be maybe the Golden Globes and then the Oscars.
Now it's like the Writers Guild
SAG and the PGA and the Writers Guild and every little nuanced fucking award has a televised special and no one cares by the time the Oscars roll around. Plus, two, I feel like when we were younger, it was network television that we would watch, or even cable, and there would always be advertisements for these things, so they would be thrown in your face. Like a couple people were saying, they didn't even know about the Chris Rock special until the day of. Maybe they went to Netflix and it popped up on that main screen. But how often do you choose to go to Netflix unless you're looking for something to watch?
Every day.
So, well,
all the time.
So not everyone does that. Not everyone has that luxury.
I guess
so
everyone's the busiest person in the world. I don't know.
It's very rare that I sit down in front of my TV unless I'm actively seeking to watch something.
Rich brings this up again. It's almost the same conversation as the Jake Paul story, but brings it up again because he wanted to talk about the Chris Rock special. None of his friends knew it was even happening. None of them had watched it. And
I just feel as I'm getting older, I'm realizing my friendships aren't suffering. It's just what we talk about has to always focus solely on like, well, how's work? How are the kids? How's this? Because all the interest, like even at softball. I went to softball for the first time in a couple months because it stopped raining out in LA for a minute. And when I was just hanging with the guys, I was talking about like the pitch clock and the bigger bases in baseball. And some of the guys were like, hey, what are you talking about? What am I talking about? You're playing softball on Saturday, which would make me think you're a baseball fan. What do you mean you don't know about the bigger bases?
But a lot of baseball fans are not spring training fans, and these are the stories that are coming out.
That's true, but how do you miss it?
Yeah, but how do you miss it, Spot? How do you miss the fact that there's now a pitch clock in baseball? You don't even have to like baseball, but you probably heard somewhere.
It's like talking about preseason football.
No,
even the biggest of football fans might not be into preseason football.
That's the importance of live content and listening to talk shows. That is the importance of tuning into a Colin Cowherd real quick, see what he's talking about. What's the big story today? Or just reading the headlines. You know, do you guys ever look at Twitter or anything? It's unbelievable to me.
So many headlines out there. It's oversaturation.
Hey, listen, we can move on from it, but it became abundantly clear that based on the last 2 weeks, where there were relatively big pop culture events, the Jake Paul fight, you could say, isn't as big. But Chris Rock was doing the first ever live comedy special on Netflix.
Why is it big? Because one of the biggest pop culture events is when Will Smith smacked Chris Rock at the Oscars a year ago.
Everyone was on the edge of their seat waiting.
That was a big story.
To see if he'll address it.
So reality is, as we get older, you will start to see...
Well, the question was, when does it stop? When does it stop? I read something somewhere that like, a man's style most of the time ends the moment he has kids. So whatever he was wearing,
yeah. Man, I feel like
when he had kids, that's sort of the style he rocks the rest of his life.
I feel like I see that with my high school friends, meaning like I see my friends still wearing baggy or jeans. I'm like, you probably had those jeans since the 2000s.
So when did it stop, or when did it happen? You know, or will you always be the guy that doesn't care moving forward then? You know, there's not going to be all of a sudden an epiphany that these people have where they all of a sudden care about what's happening now.
My mother.
What's happening now?
Your mom stayed in the loop on shit.
She did. She was, 76 when she passed, but she used to watch every night, would watch all the entertainment shows. She loved like Entertainment Tonight.
I told you, my dad does the same. Mario Lopez.
She watched the daytime shows, so she would see the guests and knew what they were promoting. So she was very up on like happenings in pop culture.
You become a dinosaur, man. Don't have to care, but you should know what's going on.
I doubt her friends did.
You don't have to care. You don't have to care.
Yeah. Ta-da.
My mom sort of blew it the other day.
Ta-da.
With my Uncle Joe, right? Because my Uncle Joe is one of those guys who really doesn't care that much about now, right?
Yeah.
And my mom goes, Steven said you don't even like boxing anymore. He's like, what do you mean I don't like boxing? My Uncle Joe loved boxing his whole life. Yeah. Right? He says that you don't even watch. You don't even like boxing anymore. And then he felt bad about it. Like, yeah, your mom told me you said I don't even like boxing anymore. And here's the truth. Truth is, he doesn't watch any of the new boxers.
So how does he know? Yeah.
Right? So I can't talk to him about, yo, bro, Teofimo and Devin Haney. But if he wants to talk about Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran, he'll talk about it all day.
He'll talk about 40-year-old shit.
Right. So, in other words, you're limited. You can't talk about the Chris Rock special with your buds because they don't know about it. They don't care about it. But if you want to talk about Chris Rock, Bring the Pain, or, you know, some of his other ones, of course. You want to talk about Chris Rock
and all of
in
this,
Pootie Tang, they're all for it.
all of this is also on top of the news cycle. Like all the shit that's going on in the real world.
And to address like my mom, I would be like, hey, Mom, I didn't say Joe didn't like boxing. He loves boxing. He just doesn't care about the new stuff.
So that means he doesn't like boxing.
No, he does.
He likes old boxing. No,
Likes-
but he doesn't. You can't say he likes
He likes
boxing.
the
You
classics.
can say
He's just not keeping up on the new stuff.
You could say he likes classic
Like
boxing.
Jason Nichols said, the Chris Rock Netflix special was being talked about on all of the news broadcasts. What if you don't watch the news? A lot of people don't watch the news.
Then you're unaware of your surroundings,
Yes.
everything that's going on, and you're losing connection to people that do care.
I just think-
I guess
the
the
younger people.
The best way to sum it up is this: when you
think
drive
we're-
your kids to school, my kids are still a little young, but
Put on NPR.
I never want to be the person that's like, "Hey, honey, what are you listening to?" Dad, it's the new Doja Cat. I don't know who that is. It's young guy. Like
it happens.
It's distortion of time.
It happens, but I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. I'll hear an artist, Melody's like, I'm listening to SZA. I'm like,
Oh,
who's
SZA's great.
SZA? What's that about?
SZA has a new song with SZA and Lizzo have a new duet.
Right.
SZA's got the voice of an angel.
Yeah, it's like
The lyrics might not line up with
it's like imagine going to one of your buddies. Imagine going to one of your buddies and be like, "Yo, what do you think about the John Moran stuff?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
I had to explain a few times over the weekend the significance of John Morant.
Anyway, point is, as we all get older, no one beats Father Time. Hey, maybe we're your outlet.
And we're all going to have moments.
yeah.
We're not immune to this.
Maybe we
But I'm
are.
more allergic to the feeling of not knowing.
Yeah, maybe
other
we're your
people just
go-to.
embrace that. I don't get that.
Maybe we're your go-to, and if that's the case, then hey, love you guys, and we'll just keep doing exactly what we do. But it is interesting that a lot of people, you're realizing as we get older, just don't seem to know what you would consider the basic current stuff.
And that being said, when did it happen? When does it happen? Let us know. What did you think about the Chris Rock special?
I have a theory on it. My theory is that much like hip hop, much like sports, there's a lot of things that are a young man's game or a young woman's game. And I think comedy's that. And we're inundated with so much good comedy. The other day we were talking about how Theo Von's like peaking right now. New comics like Matt Rife. You got guys like Sebastian who are in movies with Robert De Niro now.
Never brings up the Mexican kid. Ralph
Barbosa. I like Barbosa. I don't think he's as good as you think. You know who I like more? Our buddy Eric Rivera.
Who has a fucking HBO special?
But I'm not.
Who produced Barbosa's? Oh no, he produced the other guys. But Eric Rivera produces a lot of that.
But
for
what I'm saying is,
Latino comedians.
Bill Burr, Jim Jeffries had a new special. Nate Bargatze, Taylor Tomlinson. There's so many young comics that are hungry and they're performing every week, putting out good content. To the point where a guy like Chris Rock, who's a legend, I feel like he's rusty. I feel like it was a guy that didn't play. I feel like it was like a rapper who hadn't spit bars in 10 years that just got on stage and grabbed the mic. Like, I thought it was good.
He's currently on tour.
I thought it was good.
But you know what you never realize, and this is the first time you'll see because it's a live special. He fucked up a couple jokes, and I feel like that threw you off a bit.
Yeah, well, usually when they do a
Because
stand-up,
they usually edit.
when they do a special spot,
They'll film multiple nights.
yeah, and they cut and paste
And
in
they cut
multiple
and
nights.
Like I always loved that one special he did where it was in different cities,
and you could tell they cut
and
from.
you could tell because he had different outfits on, but it felt so seamless. Even though you could tell it was.
And by the way, did you see Chris Rock's Tambourine special? They put out a special version of it that's an hour and a half with unseen jokes and footage. They re-released that also. So if you need more Chris Rock. But I thought it was all right. I liked it. I didn't love it. But then I'm thinking like, well, Chris Rock was like the dude in the 2000s. And I think anytime he got philosophical, it felt like, nah, Dave Chappelle does this great. You do it all right.
He didn't have the chops for that sort of insight.
And, when he was talking about his kids being rich, I saw a lot of people saying that that's like he talked about how he identifies as poor. but his kids are spoiled. A lot of people thought that was a swing and a miss from him. And I didn't think it was that bad, but he was talking about how his kids ride horses and ski and they do all this like rich people shit. And I'm like, I don't know. Is he connecting with that? I don't know if it was that funny. I heard a lot of people say he lacked punchlines. And I love Chris Rock. I thought it was good.
I mean, everyone was just waiting for what happened in the last 10 minutes.
I thought even the stuff about OJ, there were certain things where I'm like, it was good, but do you agree that
just the reference to OJ dates the comedy?
In Black China, that was an old reference too. Like, I don't know.
It really does. It's it reminds you that he's an older comic, like making OJ jokes. But Chris Rock always ran with OJ jokes.
Yeah.
And, it just dated it. I liked it a lot. I did. He is older. So it's also a matter of, well, that's who he is. Like it or don't. He's trying to relate to his audience. But when he fumbled and blew the punchline
to one of his jokes,
to one of his Will Smith jokes, which the world was waiting for,
it threw me off.
I like the guy so much, it made me feel so awkward that I couldn't even watch. I got up, I started fucking like taking a piss. I was like, oh man, I feel awkward about this because I'm rooting for this guy to do well, and he fumbled one of his jokes, stumbled over the line
at the most, and I said the most anticipated part,
and it showed you how nerve-wracking this is, and that this is live. Which you could tip your pompadour and give him credit for doing, because who has the balls to do that live when the world is watching? But it threw me off as the viewer, made me feel awkward about it. And at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, he gets the last laugh because he got paid $40 million.
Right.
Now, I think people have a backwards way of looking at this too, though. People are like, yeah, shut up. That happened a year ago. Move on. It seemed like a lot of people were mad at Chris Rock for his take on what happened with Will Smith. But guess what? The guy fucking gave a masterclass in how to execute this opportunity. He didn't say shit for a year so that he could get paid $40 million.
Well, he got paid $40 million. He got paid $40 million in 2016.
He got paid $40 million for this special. They're saying two specials. But having the patience and discipline to hold out all this time is why anyone even cares. So you could say, oh, fuck him, or it sucked, but he did an amazing job at just building that anticipation leading into the Oscars. And that's why he's getting paid.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's all about getting paid.
In 2016, he signed a two-special $40 million deal. The first one was in 2018, Tambourine. And this was the second one. So this was the second of his two special $40 million deal, which is why they re-released Tambourine with additional footage. So Tambourine and the latest special, Selective Outrage, were the two specials. So he got paid $40 million for two specials. So good for him.
I also agree with Chris Frey. The before show and after show, I understand Netflix was trying to make an event out of it, but the before show was almost like a bad opening act.
I didn't see it because I didn't watch it live, and they didn't put it as part of the...
I know, and lucky you. But I feel like it set a weird tone heading into the special.
You know, I guess it was Saturday Night Spot. If you lived on the West Coast, you weren't, like, at least I wasn't, at 6, 7 o'clock watching comedy. I know you were chilling. I get it.
But I went back, like, assuming that people... Because they put it on Netflix as that's the start time.
Much like Elton John when he streamed his last concert live on Disney Plus, I had assumed that if I didn't catch it, they would just let it live in its live.
But people were tuning in at the tune-in time.
Of course, yeah.
And if you tuned in at the tuning time, there was like a half hour of bullshit beforehand, which didn't set the right mood for the show.
Ronnie Chang hosted it.
Yeah, it was awkward. That was
Arsenio
live.
Hall did a little bit.
That was the post show. They had like a weird collection of
Jabbar, David Spade. It was again Arsenio.
Yeah, I didn't see any of this.
It was a pre and post show.
Oh, I didn't.
The post show was more awkward because they couldn't address that Chris Rock flubbed the line. And they probably had seen this a million times already. JB Smooth, they already seen the act. He was working on that routine this whole past year, but he fucked it up, and that's what stood out to me. The world didn't harp on that as much as I did, though. My buddy Sean hit me up. He goes, Chris Rock does not have the it that Dave Chappelle has at covering some of this stuff like abortion or wokeism. He should probably stay off of that stuff. So then you're comparing Chris Rock to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's a master at that. Chappelle evolved into something else. You can't expect Chris Rock to evolve into something else.
Yeah, Chris
That's
Rock
who
is
he always was.
Yeah, Chris Rock's like, no pussy can't cook. Like Dave Chappelle evolved into an orator. Like he's almost like a fucking
Philosopher.
Shakespearean. Like Dave Chappelle gets up there and could just talk for an hour or so and everyone's captivated.
Chris Rock was never that guy.
Yeah, Chris Rock was never the guy
So
where
I
it's
think
like,
that's
you know.
unfair. And I think it's pretty amazing how it's 50-50. A lot of people who saw it liked it and loved that he went in on Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, me too. I liked that he went in on that, but I just
And then
thought
other people were like, yeah, that shit was whack, and I didn't even like that part. It's very split down the middle. People are thinking maybe he should have took the high road. It bothers me that he may have had to go in a little harder than he normally would because of the pressure of the public. He couldn't have done and gotten paid all that money. He couldn't have done that special without addressing Will Smith.
Yeah.
So he had to go there. And then, he sort of went off the high road and went a little deep. And is that really who Chris Rock is? I don't know.
I don't think. I mean, it's not me to tell Chris Rock that, hey, Chris, you're not deep enough to do that style. I liked it. I'm glad I watched it.
I'm going to defend him. I feel bad for anyone shitting on it because I like Chris Rock a lot.
So is it fair to say like it's a lame assessment? Would you guys agree? Spot as well, since you watched it too. Would you agree that it was good? Is it like it sounds like such a lame assessment, but I'm not gonna say it was great. I'm not gonna say, dude, it was awesome. I'm not gonna say it sucked. I mean, it sounds like the most boring review, but my review of the Chris Rock special was it was good. It was good, worth the watch. It was good. But I'll tell you what, I know, Spot. He's been honing this act, but he's not. You could tell when someone's in their prime. It sounds ridiculous, but in the NBA, right? You could see how a veteran who's a future Hall of Famer hits a stage while they're still good, but they don't have the intensity of a young player. Like hip hop. Guy can get up there and rap, but who has the vibe and the...
Because you're never going to be as hungry as you were on your come up. Ever. That's the truth.
I saw an article saying how Seinfeld, Ellen, there's other, quote, rich comics that dealt with the same thing where it's like you lose a sense of your relatability. You're just so rich and famous and you just miss the mark a little bit. And I think he missed the mark a little bit. I liked it.
I don't like the culture of everyone's like just such a critic on everything.
What are you supposed to say? You supposed to love it? He got paid $40 million. You're allowed to criticize it. I mean, do you think that was a $40 million special?
Like I said, I'm a fan of his, and I don't want to admit that he lost a step, but I felt something.
I liked it.
He didn't bring the pain like he used to.
His best, well, it's not Kill the Messenger. It's not Bigger and Blacker. Those are legendary specials. You know why? That is exactly why, everybody. Why Eddie Murphy won't do a special. Because if Eddie Murphy does a special, he'll have funny moments, but guess what? Eddie Murphy won't be. But guess what he won't be? It will not be delirious. It will not be any classic SNL. It won't be raw. So if Eddie Murphy did stand up, they'd probably offer Eddie Murphy $50 million to do one stand-up special.
He can't outdo himself.
But he can't outdo the legacy that is Eddie Murphy. So what would happen if Eddie Murphy did a special?
He can't outdo his prime. His prime is a stand-up. He could do other things and be great. And Chris Rock, I thought, did a good job. What did you expect?
You're right. Like you're asking Clayton Kershaw to pitch the way he did 10 years ago. You're asking Floyd Mayweather Jr. to box real boxers instead of doing like an occasional charity event. Like, it's over. Like you could still do it. It just...
I wonder, as a guy who puts so much into this, did it destroy Chris Rock that he flubbed that joke? Did he go back and be like, fuck, I fucked it up? Does that? I think that bothers him. That would bother the shit out of me
a little bit. I think when he made $40 million for it, I think he's thinking like,
that's how you benefit from something like that. I think he did a great job of that.
I have a question.
I just didn't like reading all the feedback of like, oh, that shit was whack.
The whole Will
he's
Smith,
old. It's
the
like,
whole him going through the whole list of people. Everyone's calling Will Smith a bitch because he's a bitch. This person said Will Smith's a bitch, and the whole Will Smith's a bitch narrative. Do you think it was funny, or you think
like the fact that it kept going?
Yeah,
He cut it off at the right point. It was kind of funny.
What did you think of this spot overall?
I liked it. I think it had a few funny moments. I think I see where he was going with certain things.
There's a lot of things that people saying that you just don't get. He's talking about like black culture, like even his closing line.
I thought the Meghan Markle thing was hilarious.
Yeah, his closing line was, people always say, why didn't you strike back? Why didn't you do anything to Will Smith? And he said, he explains that Will Smith's significantly bigger than him. But then his closing line was, and I was raised by my parents. And my parents taught me to never fight in front of white people. And he drops the mic. And, to me, like, oh, that's an interesting line. But apparently, I'm not a black guy. It's a very common black sentiment. Don't ever give the white people something to say, hey, look at them. Look at these two black kids fighting each other.
Yeah.
Like it's a very common sort of thing. And I was hearing from a lot of other, commentary that he brings a lot of cultural things into it that we wouldn't even get or understand. So you have to keep that in mind as well. I thought he did a great job, man. It's not easy, dude. Who's got the fucking nuts to get out there and do that live without the editing? And you're taking away from that. Who got paid $40 million? Who just fucking got slapped?
Yeah.
That was fucked up. Right? So you factor all those things. I think you got to tip your hat to Chris Rock, but everyone wants to be a critic and everyone's the fucking king of comedy and everyone's the best. Hey, you're never going to be as great as you once were. And you can't outdo yourself at your best. That was Chris Rock at his best. He's being compared to himself. I thought he did a great job. Overall.
Agreed. I thought overall it was good.
Exactly.
It was
just
good.
That end part just hurt me.
It was good. It was worth watching. Isn't that enough to say? I'm not going to say it was like, well, dude, a must watch.
You couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
No, but it was good. I thought it was good.
Live, dude, worldwide, internationally, big pressure.
I thought it looked good. I thought he looked
Chris
good.
Rock? Who's Chris Rock really? Skinny fucking, what did he say? I identify as broke, right? That's who he is deep down. Skinny, fucking insecure, probably black kid who fucking made it.
That's the thing.
Even though he's famous, deep down that's who he is. You don't think that shakes him a little bit to get out there live?
What did he say? He said he compared something his kids get to what he got. He goes, when I was a kid.
Oh, we went to the for field school trip. He's like, we went to the Bronx Zoo.
Yeah, he talked about how his daughter's
gorilla jerk off.
His daughter's rich. He's like, my kids are rich and spoiled. He goes, my daughter went to Portugal?
Portugal, yeah.
Portugal on a school field trip. He goes, I went to the Bronx Zoo and saw a gorilla jerk off.
I think that was an interesting. See that I looked at it as
I had to write a paper on it.
Yes, he's a multi-millionaire, but he came from humble beginnings.
Yeah.
He had a very humble childhood, and now he doesn't want that for his kids. I thought that was an interesting take on things.
I thought the one thing he
But
said.
everybody's a hardcore critic,
The
Spot.
one thing he said that I thought there was,
And I don't like it.
There were a couple really. He had some really good one-liners.
Can we just play the special?
There was like 5 moments where I was like, all right, ooh, that was really good. Again, but there were times where I'm like, man, that didn't hit. But I'm a critic just like you. I thought it was good.
Maybe he needed more time
What I thought
to work it out.
What I thought was a cool one-liner was, well, not a one-liner, when he talks about how, like, Jada hurt Will more than Will hurt me. And he straight up was like, we've all been cheated on. But he's like, have you ever been cheated on? And then the person that cheated on you went up to you and was like, I cheated on you. How you feel?
I was
Like
sucking
how-
somebody else's dick. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, like he's like, she fucked her son's friend and then asked Will how he felt about it on her podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
he said normally I wouldn't talk about that stuff.
But she
But
put it
they
out there.
went
yeah.
out there publicly and addressed it.
So
I was curious.
take something.
I was curious to see how Chris Rock would handle it. Again, there was an immense amount of pressure on him. The little sound bites that you're seeing all over social media really highlights the great parts. So I think that it makes him and makes the comedy special look great. So props to that. But I just feel bad that he's being compared to himself and that there's so many people, shitting on him for a whelming or maybe subpar, in your opinion, comedy performance. But I'm telling you, like, it's a success story. Guy got paid. He fucking overcame any fear to do that shit live. No one's willing to do that. You know why it was the first time? Because no one's willing to do it.
Yeah.
Too much pressure involved. He would have, in a real show, and I'm sure you know this, they would have been like, all right, he flubbed that one joke. All right, audience, we're gonna recut that. Just react. We're gonna recut that one joke, and they would splice that into the special so it's seamless.
Actually, if
he
you
didn't
notice
get that opportunity.
If you notice, he retold the joke.
Yeah.
So maybe in his mind, he was like, "Oh, I'll retell it. They'll edit
You know
it
what?
out."
It wasn't a big story. For me, it was. I'm telling you. For
No,
me, it threw me off. Like, oh no. It reminded me of the anxiety and nerves that are involved with something like this. And it made me get out of my seat and not really even want to see where it went because I got nervous for him. Because I like Chris Rock. I like him a lot. I followed his whole career. So that being said, everybody's a critic. I thought he did a really good job. You got to factor in all the other wins involved in this and stop harping on the negatives. Nobody's who they once were. Nobody. So what do you expect? What do you expect from Chris Rock? I thought he did a great job.
Greatness.
Tough. And then stop comparing him to Dave Chappelle.
He's no Matt.
Stop.
He's no Matt Rife.
He's not fucking Dave Chappelle. He never was. They both had GOAT status at different points, but Dave Chappelle has evolved into something else that isn't Dave Chappelle. Right? He's a thinker. He's not even fucking telling jokes. He's a philosopher. Chris Rock was doing a comedy routine.
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
Like Chappelle will sit in a chair, smoke a cigarette, and discuss a topic for 20 minutes.
And make it entertaining.
And
It's
make
still
it
funny,
entertaining.
but he's
Yeah.
not telling jokes. That's not what Chris Rock does.
Like when he addressed, where was it, a special or was it SNL where he addressed the whole trans thing?
It was
it his
a little-
SNL monologue?
no, he did a little Netflix short too, like a quick pop up
where
thing.
He
He did it a
just
few
sat
times.
there and talked about it.
Yeah.
And like it's engaging, but or maybe there's a different assumption with him. Maybe, I don't know.
So again,
Like it was interesting too to see the audience reactions. I feel like a lot of times they pan to people and they were just there like,
Selective Outrage aired this weekend live on Netflix. It was a pre and post show. I agree with Spot. It was weird, but I liked it. I enjoyed the whole thing. It felt like an event. I thank Chris Rock for doing something that felt big.
I thought it was
and
great.
He waited a long time. It felt like a big event that we were all part of. And instead, people want to fucking criticize. Thought it was good. It wasn't his best, but I thought it was really good. And you could see the passion involved too, because there was a lot of feelings involved in the end. There wasn't really anything funny at the end, but that was his real feelings about how he felt about the whole Will Smith thing. But I felt like, did he go too low? Was he out of character because that's the pressure that he felt to deliver that? Or did you accept, you liked it, Spot? Like,
yeah,
you thought it was justified?
yeah.
Either way, there it was.
Kristen liked it.
She did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
She's a Rock fan.
But I'd say it was like, 50-50 as far as the feedback. And then, earlier that night, actually later that night, I went back to UFC 285 and the Bones Jones fight hadn't started yet. So I was like, sweet. And he's fighting this guy, Cyril Gane, this Frenchman, for the vacant heavyweight title. And Bones Jones, John Jones, making his debut, 43 pounds heavier. He was a former light heavyweight champion. Is now the heavyweight champion of the world in UFC.
Did you say that the picture of Bones Jones when he was ripped versus now looks like me in my 20s versus me now?
Yeah, but he made,
Spot, there's a
he made
picture
an
of-
effort to move up in weight.
Yeah, no, there's a picture of Bones Jones now. And I'm not saying I'm ripped, but I'm saying what I looked like in my 20s compared to now really does look like the before and after of Bones Jones. Like Bones Jones looks in shape now, but he's got a little bit of a dad bod because he's, he moved up in weight class. But
People are solidifying his place in UFC history by saying he is like the undisputed GOAT because he was the greatest light heavyweight. And now he's a heavyweight champion. Is he going to fight? He's probably going to fight Stipe. And Francis Ngannou is calling him out.
Michael Stipe?
So we'll see what happens.
no, not Michael Stipe.
But
Not
man,
Michael
he made easy work of Gane, and that fight was over before it started.
Yeah, by the way,
props to John Jones, who was out of the ring, I think, for 3 years or whatever.
Does anyone else feel that way? Look at that picture again. If you're 40-ish like we are, do you feel like left picture is you in your 20s, right picture is you now at the beach?
I don't think I ever looked like it either. He's still got good pectoral definition.
Yeah, no, that's Spot. That's the picture on the right.
Good shoulders.
I mean, he's pretty beefy, but that's sort of
it's bulking season.
that's sort of most guys in their 40s. I feel like me with my shirt off looks like that. It looks like my shoulders and chest looks fine, but my belly's soft.
It's bulk season.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I got a call, by the way. I can't give you too much info, but I just freaked out for a minute, much like you did last week, because my boss at SXM hit me up and he's like, you got a second to talk?
Uh-oh.
And I was like, yeah, I'm doing the podcast. Give me 1 second. Because it's public knowledge, so I'm not giving it insider info. But all over the social media today and all over the news networks, because it's a publicly traded company, people already hit us up about it. SiriusXM to cut close to 500 jobs, reducing its workforce by almost 10%.
It's horrible. That's really horrible.
Every department will be impacted. They're firing about 500 people across the board. And I just got word that, thank God, it appears as though I'm good, but now, based on what other moving parts are,
And by the way,
they may move me around, if that makes sense.
A lot of this is aftermath of the pandemic. Hate to bring it back to that. But budgets were never the same, and the company lost a lot of money as a result.
And,
right? And think of how many jobs were affected because of the vaccine, not getting the vaccine, budget cuts, and things like that. Yet people want to wash their hands of how they handled this.
Well, you know what? It's
Give me a break on that. We talked about this last week.
No, it's the shady
but
aftermath.
We're still dealing with the aftermath of that. And 10% of the company that we work for are going to be unemployed. Not to mention all the other jobs lost during the pandemic. Like, I don't know, like ours. Think of how it affected the world. It's like, I guess we were wrong about all that stuff. All the pressure you put on people. People weren't going to their jobs, and people are getting fired. 10% of our companies getting fired today.
It not only is a slight economic downturn, but
why, Spot?
Hold on. The pandemic, a lot of people were staying home. SiriusXM is like a car listen. Maybe a lot of people listen at home, but still, it might be a car listen. So, and the first things to go are these superfluous subscriptions that people are like,
It very much had to do with a car issue. People weren't commuting anymore. So if people weren't buying cars, therefore SiriusXM was not as important as it was supposed to be.
I don't think the churn was bad or the numbers were bad. I think it's more that the company I saw, and again, this is public information, so I'm not like reading an email I got from the boss. I'm reading something I'm seeing on Hollywood Reporter and TMZ. The satellite radio giant is laying off 475 plus people. Nearly every department across SXM will be impacted, and they streamlined their non-headcount costs by reducing content and marketing spending, which is why you saw SiriusXM at the Super Bowl only had a couple sports shows.
Yeah.
And
because think about
we wouldn't have been there regardless.
They restricted and tightened all travel and entertainment spending and policy. So expense reports gone, and their real estate footprint is significantly decreasing. So
they had just built, I think that was $30 million, the LA studio.
They had purchased two other companies.
We had all of they had purchased.
It was a perfect storm. This is
they purchased Pandora.
They purchased Pandora. They purchased
Didn't know what
Stitcher.
to do with it.
They opened up facilities. They signed Howard.
And it's like then everyone went home.
Yeah.
It's like we were in that office for all of 8 months. Even just that office. To think the money they wasted on that.
Office is next level.
Everyone had to pay their lease and rent.
Yep.
Continue it, even though the places weren't being used.
Even still, they're going back to the office like twice a week.
Well, you know what it does? It's like this is what it comes down to. And I'm not, it's not some wild political statement, but do you remember when the world went to shit and a lot of people got stimulus checks and
you mean they were just printing money left and right?
And they were printing money and everything was happening. And it seemed like, wow, we sort of got away with that. If you didn't get fired or let go or something in the last couple of years, you almost feel like, ooh, did I escape it? There's a good chance you didn't, and your company is now seeing the effects of it because it just
10% of any company. That's a lot of people, and we don't know who those people are going to be.
I already heard a few of them.
Our friends.
I can't say, but I heard a few people that I'm like, oh, whoa.
It sucks. Yeah. And I'll tell you firsthand, we put our blood, sweat, and tears just like anyone else does, and you believe in your company and you are a part of it, to just be fucking tossed away like that. It sucks.
It's very
because
possible.
You're just a number. And I don't even know if I'm safe. I signed an agreement. Does that guarantee me my year?
Of course.
I hope so. Okay,
what do you mean? You signed a contract.
Because this is still freelance.
It's also
who knows?
very possible that we got out at the right time.
Well, know what I thought? I said to Sarah this morning, I said,
no question about that.
If we weren't given the weird proposition and got let go, given a bad offer. If we had not got let go
I was going to say, what was your weird proposition?
Well, the weird proposition was
you gotta suck it or you won't have a job.
But 3 years ago, did we just celebrate the 2-year anniversary of doing this show?
Yeah.
Off of SXM?
Yeah.
2 years ago, we were given the proposition to take a pay cut with a non-compete, and Spot had to get let go. So it was like our show, pay cut, a non-compete, and Spot gets let go.
Also a time cut. We were only
only a couple days a week. And
I feel like I would have been quote unquote redistributed and then still overseen your show. I know you don't think on the back end. I know what they said, but I feel like the boss would have been like, you do this, and you'll also still post Covino and Rich. I honestly, I think.
Are you there now?
Well, I feel like.
So what would make you think they were very clear that we were like, yeah, but I remember being like, well, how do you expect us to?
They were going to use one of the minions that they paid nothing.
They're like, we'll have a part-timer post your show.
I think they would have made me a minion.
Maybe.
With a little yellow hat, like a minion?
Yeah.
Like a minion?
Yeah,
so anyway,
yeah.
Long story short is that it's not personal. It's public knowledge that SXM today is one of the roughest days in the company's history, because throughout all these iHeart, Cumulus cuts, and every major tech company doing cuts, SiriusXM during COVID was like, yeah, we're still giving bonuses. We're still doing this. We're still doing that. And so the fact that today is the day the shoe drops, is that the expression? The shoe drops?
The balls drop.
The balls drop?
The beat.
The beat drops.
The beat drops.
It just
the new album. The new album.
There's
new album's dropped. I don't know why.
There's old timey.
Let's not forget.
Yeah.
We went through the 2008-2009 crunch.
Yeah, but
that was a bad time too.
Here's my thought though. Let me finish my thought from this morning. I said to Sarah, I said, if it wasn't a couple years ago, let's say we had signed a couple-year deal, right? Instead of leaving SXM. Let's say we signed a 2-year contract, because those are usually what we did. We would be expiring right now, so we probably would have been the cut now.
Which shows are cut? Any shows cut?
I know one or
Really?
two, but I can't say.
Text me. Could be our bosses. We
No,
don't
but I thought, you know what I thought
We have
also
no
that was
idea.
sad? There's a couple, not old timers, but there's people that I know that have been like radio lifers, and truthfully, I don't know what they necessarily do, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, if someone like that gets cut, I wouldn't be surprised, because when they're doing the crunching the numbers and like, what does that person do? Oh, I don't know. Well, hey,
There are a lot of.
I wish everyone well in their career and their job. It just sorry I stepped away for 1 minute. The boss was like, "Can you talk?" And when the boss says, "Can you talk?" as you said the other day, isn't that like a
especially on the day of.
Yeah, no. The day I get it, the day my first inbox email was from the CEO of the company saying today is the rough day in the company's history, and then the boss hits me up with a "Can you talk?"
I mean, I'm hoping I'm good.
Especially in the email when it said, "Here, I'll tell you one thing it did say in the email."
When I had this conversation, it was sort of hinted that this was coming, so I think I'm good.
All right. Here's the thing. This is what the email and the press release said that I guess is the public knowledge now. So I wake up to this email saying it's a rough day. In the email, it says, in the meantime, thank you for everyone building this company. Like it's a terrible decision. We hate doing this. All the nice things I have to say. And then it said, employers and executives will be in touch with those affected today. So when the boss texts you, hey, can you talk? The minute you read this email, I'll be honest, my stomach dropped like yours did last week. I'm like, Jesus. Jeez. So, fingers crossed everything works out. I feel like I'm good. I know you signed your thing and you're good, but it just sort of
shit. A lot of times you just let things sit for a little bit. I signed that shit immediately just in case someone had oh, wait a second.
Wait, Covino, he wasn't on the good list.
Yeah. I was like, too late. I signed that shit so fast.
I didn't mean Steve Covino.
Man. Let me know who you know is affected. Because again, like some people we've worked with for 20 something years now. And we know it's not easy to get back on your feet. We're very lucky and fortunate to have gotten to where we are right now. What are other people going to do?
So, hey, that's a little, not shinfo, but just a little something that's going on in our life. Because, we are the guys that juggle 5 jobs. So There you have it.
You also juggle.
I do
That's
juggle
one of your
as well.
jobs.
for extra flow. So John Jones gone this
John
weekend.
Jones.
And
John.
I got to shout out the Vata Loco. Alexa Grasso became the first Mexican flyweight champion in the co-main event over Shevchenko. That was a pretty good fight, too.
To go back to staying in the loop, even on stuff that you don't know, like I'm not a big UFC guy, but I saw that. Was there a big upset in the women's world? I feel like
that's the
that was the
Alexa
one,
Grasso
right?
fight.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the vibe I got on social media was that it was an upset. But was it a major upset or just a mild upset?
No, I don't think anyone expected Grasso to beat her the way she beat her. She took a lot of punches to even get her.
Let me look up the odds. What was it? Grasso and who?
Shevchenko. And Shevchenko.
How do you spell Shevchenko? CH?
SHEVCHENKO.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
She was having, from, again, what I was watching, she was having her way with her jab the whole time. And Grasso was getting hit. And then all of a sudden, caught her, was able to submit her. She wins. End of story.
Shit. Shevchenko lost.
Yeah.
Minus 800 favorite.
Well, Shevchenko's not the Mexican girl.
No, but what I'm saying is Shevchenko minus 800.
Yeah.
So you had to bet 800 to win 100. Grasso plus 550. So you bet 100, you won 550. So it's a major upset.
As
a major upset.
Joe Rogan explained, no one expected her to submit her in that way, to win in that way, but she trained for that specific moment, and she pulled out a nice win. She's the new. So I hope you enjoyed your UFC 285, and of course your Chris Rock special, The Last of Us.
I'm gonna watch
when you're left wanting more. That's always a good feeling.
All right, good.
And that's how I felt watching last night's episode. It's like, damn.
But you know what?
That little freaky girl. There's a reason she got that role.
She's really good.
She's really good. Yeah, she really is. She's really good. So props to her. Props to that show. Excited for Bachelor Monday.
Me too.
And I got other things to get to.
So let's see.
I hate the whole Sirius XM conversation. It bothers me. Burns
it
my
hurt.
butthole.
Does it burn you or does it make you feel sad?
Yeah, both angry and sad.
It doesn't make me angry. It makes me feel sad for the people that will be affected. I don't know who all those people are, but what I do know is that there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are going to be affected. I mean, we don't know a lot of people that work for the company anymore. But when you talk about almost 500 employees, you at least know 5 to 10 people that are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It might be people that have worked there forever. For all we know, like, you know, some of those people in the hallway that's like, "Hey, Steve," or like,
someone's cut, or maybe someone's time is cut, like you said, or adjusted. You know,
yeah, it's
people
a
who work full time.
Nah, I think
it's a head count.
I think it's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, I'm
sucks.
just saying, like, think of all those like random old men and women that worked at the station, that worked at Sirius XM, that you'd go down the hallway and be like, "Hey, Barbara in accounting," like. Maybe they're like, "Yeah, we don't need her really." Or like, "Hey, there's Doug in sales." Like, you know, Doug really doesn't do much, but he's a likable guy. And it's like, well, now maybe today's the day. Like those days suck. And I think we've all worked for companies. I'll be the first to say, when I worked for iHeart, when it was Clear Channel, every year there was that scary moment where it's like, they're doing the cuts. Does every other company do that? I mean, or is that only the media? I feel like media is illegal. Media and tech, I feel like, are league leaders in annual cuts, and everyone fears those months. Spot, do you remember for iHeart, it was every December? It was right around the holidays.
Yeah.
It was like the pre-Christmas fuck you. And
Because they prepare, I feel like,
they prepare for the next fiscal year.
yeah, like SXM's fiscal year, I feel like kicks in February.
Yeah. So anyway, not trying to be all like sad, but you agree that that's sort of like a bummer?
Big time bummer. I'm not happy about that at all. I don't feel comfortable about my situation. I just signed some shit. So
what are you going to worry for a year then?
Yeah, but I'm not a full-time employee. They could be like, "Well, we don't need you." Yeah, we agree. You know, what does that mean?
Yeah, I
don't
guess
think
so.
there's no
But I'm saying, if
guarantee there.
you sign an agreement, would they offer you
It's
an
just
agreement? Yeah, but if
they could now agree to say, "Yeah, we don't need you, 7 days a week. We need you like 3 days a week."
yeah, but if they are,
I'm a no.
no, but what I'm saying
it's
is
not a fucking contract that gives me any.
they wouldn't be
leverage.
like, here's an agreement for another year agreement. They wouldn't give you that 3
But I'm
days
not
before.
guaranteed X amount of shifts. You know, it's just freelance. It's like, hey, we don't need. We need it. We can cut it. Who knows?
You
what
want to know
they
my
can do?
opinion?
Yeah.
My opinion is that it sounds terrible, but you're going to benefit from this. Because you know what I
Maybe.
think is going to happen? They'll probably, and it just when you look at just the numbers, they'll probably let a couple people go. And in that mix, we'll be like, well, we need some coverage, but we don't have a full timer and this and that. Like, hey, we'll have Covino do it. I almost feel like they're going to throw something at you.
Well, they should have did that before I fucking signed with Fox.
No, but I know.
I know. Hey, man, hey, if they give me the money, show me the money. Let's do it.
What do you like, Rod Tidwell?
Yeah, show me
Was
the
that
money.
his name, or was it Tisdale?
You were right.
Yeah. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show
All right,
me
so
the money.
Selective outrage and
You know what? I got to tell you about something real quick, and then Conch is yours. And I get it. Because there are many times
I said it. I broke my mama's credit.
I said it. Oh, man. Can I tell you something? Now you got my ADD blazing. You said my mom's
Stop
credit.
blaming me, bro.
No, you said my mama's credit. So you got me thinking.
No, you said I get it, and I said it. I read it.
You broke your mama's credit?
I don't even know what that means.
I thought
I'm
that's what you said.
I'm hot.
You know what happened
Sock
to my
it to me one
You know what
more
happened to my mom?
time.
You know when something happens to an older...
Oh, Shalina, walking down the street 10 times a week.
You know how...
What a great movie, huh?
know when something
I'm
happens-
gonna watch Big with my kid.
You know how... when-
Big's a good one,
You know
man.
when something happens
Big.
to your parents, and it might not be the biggest deal, but maybe in their generational mindset, they freak out. Can you follow me on that?
Sure. Writing down Big.
Okay, write that down.
On my quest to be a good dad, I have ideas of things to do with my kid. Big.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
Someone hacked my mom's accounts at the bank, and let's just say my mom's, not to give up too much info, but let's say my mom...
Why would they fucking do that? It's
Bro.
like breaking into an empty safe. Like you wasted all your
It's like
time.
fucking just like Geraldo. Nothing's in here.
It's like
No, but here's the deal.
and there's no knock on your mom, but it's not like she's slaying
Let's say
it.
my mom on a regular basis has I don't know, anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000 in her account.
Right. Like
She's like,
yeah.
she doesn't, my mom lives paycheck to paycheck.
Exactly.
So let's say my mom roughly has like $1,500 in her account. Until she got paid again. My mom was at Chick-fil-A with my brother, Top Jimmy. And she was getting a little breakfast sandwich, and it said, a little breakfast, little biscuit. Put her card in, it said, declined. My mom's like, declined? Why? She looks on her account. 1 million charges in like a 1 day period. So it was a 1 day period. Someone must have got a hold of not her card, her account info. And sometimes when you overdraw your account, your bank calls you. She's minus like $5,000. Like someone charged like $6,000. Let's say she had $1,000.
Yeah.
Someone charged $6,000 and like $800 for Amazon, $800 for Amazon, $800 for Amazon. She called the bank. It was all pending. And I'm like, Mom, you're FDIC insured. You just have to fill out all this annoying paperwork.
FDIC.
And they'll fix it for you. And the reality is she'll get her money back. But to her,
Yeah, it sucks.
no, but to her, she doesn't have any other money. So she's like, well, I was like, Mom, it'll probably take like a week for them to fix it. Don't worry about it. You don't owe anyone $6,000. They'll fix it. But she's like, well, then how am I supposed to do anything in the meantime? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You have no, I was like, ask Jimmy, my brother who lives there. I'm like, tell him to give you like $500 just to what do you call it? Just to get by until you fix it. And she's like, you think he'll do that? I'm like, what is he going to tell you? Not to eat? So yeah, like when your older relatives get thrown something. So it's just one of those things.
Hadn't I broke your mama's credit, we would have never gotten this story.
Yo, bank,
Right?
the bank should,
Amazing.
I agree with Rashawn. The bank should have alerted her. Who doesn't alert? All right, when you see a woman's account,
Maybe they tried.
When you see a woman's
she doesn't
account-
have it set up.
when you see an account where it's like Food Lion or wherever she goes to get her like discount groceries or like, all my mom's bills are like, let's be honest, like Target, and like, Dunkin' Donuts. If you saw out of nowhere $6,000, so yeah, I know it's not FDIC insured for fraud, but it gets covered is the point. But my mom now is freaking. I'm like, she went to the bank in person. And I was like, well, you didn't have to do that, but she did.
She freaking like when Randy Savage was bitten by Damien.
Bro. Freak out.
Oh! You know, they couldn't get him off his arm. Oh, I'm sorry I agreed to this. Oh,
Stop it.
Jake the Snake. Remember when fucking the
Yes.
snake bit Randy Savage?
So
Freak out. Oh. Is that your mom right now?
So, from the stories I've told, I know it doesn't seem like my brother is the most helpy helperton. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I can't even be like, all right, mom, I'll wire you like $500. To what? Wire her to what? The one account she has that's been compromised? So I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Jimmy's got to give you a few $100 until you figure this out. So I hit him up and he hasn't written me back. I go, Jimmy, float mom a few $100 so she figures this out. And he hasn't written me back yet.
Jeez.
So we'll see.
Well, he's, who knows how much money he's got saved. People don't save, dude.
I know, but the point is, like, I know it'll be okay. I mean, I can't imagine where it wouldn't be okay. You do your fraud reports; they got your back. That's what banks do. But the reality is, a 65, 70-year-old woman who freaks out at those type of things, you can only imagine. My mom was crying yesterday. I'm like,
I bet.
Like, you don't need to cry, Mom. I promise, it's going to be okay. It's going to be.
I feel violated, Richie.
Oh, what? I mean, now what? The bank thinks I've overdrafted $5,000.
Gonna affect my credit,
Mom,
Richie.
Like, mommy,
broke your mama's credit.
Mommy, dearest, you don't need to worry. I'm like, I promise you, within a week, they'll figure this out and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I promise you. They're not gonna. You don't owe anyone anything. You've been hacked. You've been scammed. You've been bamboozled, but you'll get your money back. You just have to fill out the fraud paperwork. And I don't know what to tell you, Mom, other than just don't freak out. In fact, my mom has a male friend. You know that woman, Barbara Ann?
Yeah, Mr. McFeely?
You know Barbara Ann, who has that guy in her life now?
Yeah.
It's odd. My mom might have a similar scenario. And that guy's like, I want to help you, but I don't know how to even get you money because I can't send it where. Like you can't. So it's just a pain in the ass. She contacted her bank. And you know what the funny part is? After she contacted them, there were more pending charges. So she had to call back and be like, why does it keep going up? So having your identity or bank info stolen is the worst. Jaime said it has to be refunded within 10 days. I'll tell my mom that, but she is freaking out.
Jaime's arena.
Yeah, Jaime's the fucking dude. He runs. So long story short, that I didn't even intend on telling. My mom got hacked, and you can only imagine. I'm sure your parents feel the same way. If something happens to your mom or dad, aren't there things that they get? As you say, they drown in a cup of water.
No, my mom says that about me.
I'm like, dude,
she's right about that. Too.
I know. Get your mom. But here's the deal.
Made that happen in my life.
Mauser, great suggestion. Get your mom Venmo. To what account, Mauser? She has one account, and that one account has been compromised. So I know it sounds ridiculous, but yes, Zelle, Venmo. You think my mom's got this shit? And she only has one account. So short of sending her cash, that's why I'm saying my brother's got to step it up. If Top Jimmy doesn't be like, yo, mom, here's $500 for the next week until your bank shit's figured out, here's $500. If Jimmy doesn't do that, I want to slam his head into the ground. Give him a little noggin knocker. Come on. Come on.
Tie him up in the ropes.
She doesn't have any credit cards. I promise you, there's nothing she could do right now. Right now, my mom's like, I don't know what to do. Her friend at work drove her to and from work. Because keep in mind, my mom doesn't drive. She takes a Lyft back from work at night. She walks to work and takes a Lyft home for like $5.
Well,
so I don't know what to say.
You interrupted yourself.
I know.
What was the story?
Story was there's a show.
I'm sorry. By the way, I'm sorry to hear about your mom. That sucks, and I think we could all relate to that,
dude.
But not your mom's in a helpless situation. It sucks.
Yeah, maybe a Venmo.
She has a son right there.
Maybe buy her Venmo debit card, or maybe you get her like one of those American Express cards from like the supermarket. Like pay for it. Like maybe I don't know. Jeez. I know she needs an emergency credit card, EJ, but she has no credit, so the credit line would be like $1.
Yeah, but that's how you start.
I know.
Your mom's credit.
Broke my mama's credit.
I'm cool. I'm hot. Sock it to me one more time.
I thought it was sock you. in
I
the
don't fucking
stomach
know. I don't
one more
know.
time.
Sock it. A little
Dude.
redheaded, weird-looking redheaded kid. I don't know the
Dude,
song.
you're talking about a woman who had negative money before she moved to Baltimore. And I fucking did everything for her, set her up. She finally got her act together.
And she spent it all on seeing Chris Rock last night.
And
2 days ago.
And it's just, yeah, it's one of those scenarios where now, like, my mom's going around Maryland today. Like,
That's because your mom bet on Shevchenko.
I told her, I was like, don't take the only money you have and do that. But she did. Why would she do that?
Shevchenko.
So, anyway, there's a show I'm watching. Now,
MILF Manor.
this is not a new show, but it's a new show to many because sometimes when a show's on like a weird network, there's a lot of time people don't know about the show, and then, oh yeah, it gets more attention. People know about it. What's the number one answer for that spot? Would you agree that You is the number one show that people didn't realize existed until it was on Netflix? Maybe Cobra Kai also. Like You with Joel Goldberg.
Where was You?
You was on like TLC or like Women's Entertainment or some bullshit cable network.
Oh, wasn't it Lifetime?
Lifetime? It was a...
Yeah.
So You, no one cared about it. It goes on Netflix. Tens of millions of people around the world watch it. It's in season 4 now. But season 1 was on like Lifetime and no one even heard about it. So when people watch it on Netflix, they were like, oh, this brand new show. Wasn't a brand new show. It was
like,
just...
like Manfest.
Oh, Manifest got canceled on NBC and now was the number one show around the planet on Netflix. So Manfest. So we also talked about that with Cobra Kai. We love it, but it was on YouTube Red or YouTube Premium. We watched it because we love Karate Kid. But how many people watched Netflix Cobra Kai for the first time, Covino, and said, oh, new show?
Oh, yeah.
People thought it was new. So there's a show that I'm watching. And Sarah, I'll give Sarah the high five. She was the Sarah Columbus, no Dickie Columbus here. She discovered it. She's like, this show looks so cool. And I was like, that's so funny. I know the name of the show only because Covino and I on Fox Sports, we do live commercials for MGM Plus, the new app.
Is it Vikings Valhalla?
No.
Like that's up your alley.
MGM Plus is just yet another streaming service to add to the list.
Is it the psychological thriller From?
Remember, Covino and I were like, from what? This is an incomplete sentence. And then we went to the salesperson, even Danny G and Spot. Everyone's like, the copy's wrong. And the psychological thriller from what? And then we realized,
Tarantino.
The show is called From. Sarah said there's a show that looks so insane that's on MGM Plus. She goes, you want to do the free sample? It's like free trial for 7 days. And I think it was like $5 a month. I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'll watch a new show with you if you want to vouch for it. I watched the trailer, and this shit looks so creepy. And I'm up to like episode 7 of season 1. It's insane. Spot, if you want to play the trailer, it's on Epix. Again, it's like 6-7 months old, the original shows. But much like shows that are off your radar, aren't they sort of new to you if they were somewhere that no one knew?
Yes.
Like you never heard of it, right?
Only on the commercial.
If we didn't do the commercial.
Oh, was I right? It's actually From?
It's From.
Oh.
The movie is From. So I got hooked with they didn't hook us up with free access even though we do the commercials. So we said, all right, we'll do the 7-day free trial and give it a shot. But Spot, this show might be the most intense show. If this was on, sometimes it's about placement. You know how we talked about how with Cobra Kai, it was on YouTube Red and got like very little respect. The minute it's on Netflix, it's the number one show for everyone around the world.
Mm-hmm.
We've said this before. Like, I promise you, if this show From was on...
It's like our show on Series 6. It was good.
Didn't get the credit it deserved.
Didn't get credit it deserved. On Fox Sports, people are like, yo, these guys are great.
If this show From was on Netflix or HBO or even Hulu, the world would be talking about it. I promise you. It's so wild, but I don't know anyone who's talking about it. By the way, Epix is now MGM Plus, so that's why the confusion as well. If you remember, Epix was one of those like random throw-in cable channels. Mm-hmm. Epix is now MGM Plus. So, Spot, do you mind playing a little bit of the trailer? Will that get us flagged or anything? We're good?
Who knows?
MJ, look at this. This show looks insane.
Uh-oh.
Must have got knocked down in a storm or something.
It's a pretty selective storm.
Uh-oh, that's an omen.
What are they doing?
Can we just leave, please? Jim!
Sit.
Yeah.
In this dirty old part of the city,
Maybe we use the sign for the highway.
We didn't miss the sign.
where the sun refused to shine.
Can I help you?
We got on a detour off the highway and cell service around
Got
here.
your family with you?
I got Puffy.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could point me in the direction of the highway.
Not a problem.
That guy.
And one thing I know is true.
What he said?
Stay on the road.
Be dead before your time is through.
Did we turn somewhere?
God damn it.
Jim, we're driving in circles. You drove out this way. How did we get back here?
So, they're stuck.
Oh, Lost.
Everybody in the okay?
From the creators of Lost.
Yeah.
This is impossible.
Yeah, it is.
Where are we?
I know none of this makes sense yet. Everyone in this town has been exactly where you are right now. Everyone sees the tree.
You could stop at Spot.
Those groves.
So, everyone that lives in this town
It's like they're caught in a time
was
loop.
happens to be
gotcha.
passing through, and they're like, "Oh, tree fell. Let's take a detour." And when they try to go around it, they're going straight, but they keep passing the same town. That they're in a loop they can't get out of.
Caught in a glitch.
Yeah, everyone in this town is like, "Yeah, I've been here so many years. I've been here 6 months."
gotta get out of this place. Doom, 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 doom.
And
Boom, 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 boom.
let's just say there's like ghouls and monsters and fucking crazy shit involved, and it's a really awesome psychological crazy show. There's 10 episodes, and I bring it up because season 2 comes out next month. So if you need a new show, it is awesome. Like Sarah and I are like, it's one of those shows where we're like, oh man, I want to keep watching, but it's getting late. Like when you want to keep watching, that's how you know you're pulled in. So it's like a creepy Groundhog Day, but they're not living the same day over. They're just stuck. And then then they start asking questions like, well, first of all, we have to figure out, where are we? When are we? Like and then you start wondering, like, how quickly do you just accept the fact that, like, yeah, I'm stuck here? Because the new people are always like, why are you guys so calm? And they're like, oh, you're a new guy. Like we used, we just accept it now. Like, then you're like, is everyone in on it or no one's in it? Or it's so good. So if you need a new show, fantastic. The end.
From what? From who?
From.
From what?
And you start learning all weird things about these. Oh, dude, it's fantastic. So
Might have to jump on that.
it's really good. So I wrote that down because I feel like if anyone needs like a legit good show, dude,
I love a good
Main
sci-fi
actor.
thriller.
it's so up your alley. I feel like you're gonna love it.
Leave my alley out of this, bro.
Guy. I know Harold Perrineau from, what was he on Oz?
The main guy,
Yeah. But who's the other dude?
what is he from?
Lost.
The black dude.
No.
It's really good. So hey, you know what?
No,
He's
this-
from What's
this
Happening
guy.
Now.
This guy. Oh. What was he in?
The main dude?
I know
I don't
this
know.
guy
What is the black dude? The black dude, I feel like Sarah and I were like, yo, he looks way familiar.
Maybe I know him from Dawson's Creek.
Well, I'll check it out. I will.
guy's
I
in
don't
a
know
lot
if I
of
can
stuff.
get Jordan on board, but that might be something I watch when she's not around.
Oh, ER. That's where I know him from. ER.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Sorry.
So there's a few other random things that were on my mind. I was watching Shark Tank this weekend.
You don't say.
Fucking great show, man. Love that show. Shark at heart.
You really should.
I keep moving forward like a shark. Sharks don't go backwards, but move forward.
You should team up with
Biting
Liquid.
asses.
You should team up with Liquid Todd and have his dog treat vending machine.
Street treats. Man, yeah, that's me big.
To bring it back to existence.
And there was a product that I wanted to introduce you to, but it's not even the product that I care about. It's the need for the product. Like, wow, I didn't realize it was such a thing. This woman gets on there and she's like, yeah, I'm a stylist, hairstylist, whatever. And I came across a problem. I found a solution. It's called Chub Rub. Like Chub Rub? Any ideas? Any guesses what Chub Rub is?
Oh, wait, is that the guy that, isn't that the guy that whistle goes woo?
Not as Bub Rub.
No, Chub Rub.
Chub Rub, whistle
It's-
go woo.
It's something you place over a guy's head or ear, body. So when you're rubbing up against him, you don't feel his junk.
A chub rub?
Is that it?
Oh, no, it's something you put on your
Oh,
penis and it's
protect
like
your chub.
it's like a guy jerk off thing. Like, oh, chub.
No. All right. So she's like, I'm making this up, but she says something like, 9 out of 10 people suffer from this. I'm like,
Chub rub.
and when she describes what this is, right? 3 of the sharks like, yeah, that happens to me all the time. Robert Herjavec's like, yeah, that happens to me. Mark Cuban's like, yeah, that happens to me. Like, I'm like, really? Wow. I thought like this was for fat people or something. I didn't
Chub
realize.
rub?
So Chub Rub is a product that stops thigh chafing.
Oh,
when
yeah.
inner thighs chafe and you get rashes.
Whose inner thighs are chafing
That's
that
what I'm
much?
saying. 2 sharks apparently. So she makes it out to say like, or makes it out to be that so many people deal with this issue. Robert Herjavec says because he's a runner, you know, he's got massive thighs, so this is an issue.
I agree with Clove Man. I think it sounds like topical Viagra. Chub rub?
No, so then Herjavec and Mark Cuban both agree. Well, you know, we just use Vaseline. Mark Cuban says in the NBA it's a big problem because, you know, they're running around all fucking day. I guess it could be an issue. They're more athletic.
Their big dongs are just flopping around.
I didn't know. Yeah, exactly. I didn't. It's from their cack. I didn't realize that this was such a thing that there needed to be an invention to. I thought it was for like I thought
So-
overweight people dealt with
hold on.
this. I didn't realize it was like more of a common
Yeah,
thing.
whose thighs are rubbing together so much?
So
That's why I bring it up. I don't know.
if there are certain times, so I wear boxer briefs,
Yeah.
and if my boxer briefs aren't like in the creases properly of my hip crease, sometimes I will get a little chub rub. When I go do yoga.
Whistle go woo.
So when I do yoga, I buy those shorts that have the lining already built in.
Right.
So you don't you're not wearing underwear.
I guess that
underneath
helps
them.
for
So
chub rub.
sometimes
Maybe yoga? Yeah, something
hold on.
like that. I don't
but
know.
in the not during yoga, but in the winter, I'll wear to go to and from yoga because I walk there. It's cold. I'll wear sweatpants over my shorts. So after class, if it's hot and sweaty and my shorts are all wet, I don't want to put sweatpants over sweaty shorts. So I'll go in the locker room, I'll take off the sweaty shorts, and I'll just put the sweatpants on. I'll go commando just to walk home. So I don't have coverage on my thigh area, and I'll get a little chub rub. And then it's irritated for like 2 days.
So again, what is this product? They're patches and they're inclusive.
You know who
they make them all
probably-
different skin shades, and you put them in between your thighs so
You know
that
who-
when your legs are chafing and your legs are rubbing, there's no rash forming.
You know who
and she's
deals with
showing
this?
pictures of like how common it is and how everyone has these rashes between their inner fucking thighs. I'll tell you what, if I was with a chick and she had these fucking rashes going on, I'd be like, yo,
You know who probably deals
what the
with
fuck
this?
is that about? It's my chub rub.
People who go commando.
Well, then fucking wear some underwear.
No, women who aren't wearing tights probably have a little, they got the thick thighs and the thick thighs rubbed together. Men who are going commando and like everything's just flopping around in there.
Apparently, there's a big problem. No one bought into this product.
That's my wife.
But she said there was a major need for it. I don't know how true it is. That's why I bring it up on the show. But it was like hold on, wait a second. Like, this is a big deal. Like, I understand if you're overweight. I get it, right? I understand that it happens. I understand if you're crazy athletic and you're running around all day, like, yes, your nipples could chafe from just bouncing around in your shirt. I get it.
You ever see a dude with a runner with bloody nipples?
Yeah, I trust me. I'm not saying this is foreign to me.
There have been times
but
where
the
like
fact that it's more common than I thought was interesting.
the nipple chafe. Look, I've
experienced that.
if you're playing, the only times I would ever sweat that much, the few times I did yoga with Spot or playing pickup basketball or playing sports on if you're playing baseball or even softball on a hot day, when your shirt gets wet,
It's not about sweat though.
come here a second. Do you ever get thigh
Hoots.
chafe? You get
Thigh chafe.
Are you like, do you
Thigh
get like thigh
irritation,
chafe,
sorry.
thigh
Inner thigh.
irritation?
Thigh irritation?
Inner thigh.
Inner thigh.
Do you think there's a Shark Tank item that's necessary?
Sarah's got like the stems of a model.
Do you get Do your inner thighs get chafed where you would need like
He's
patches
a
for
weenie
them?
with a model,
There has
baby.
been times when I like, especially when I was a lifeguard, and like I would like be in my swimsuit and like I would like have chafe, yeah, because it was like
I guess so, like swimsuits, lifeguards, maybe, yeah.
Be, like underneath here.
I know what you're saying, like under there.
Here and in my thighs and like.
Apparently, people's inner thighs rubbing together is a bigger problem than I realized. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. I didn't realize like you weren't. I didn't realize that an average fella like Mark Cuban or Robert Herjavec had to deal with some shit like that.
Did I ever tell you about the time that I like chafed up my penis?
Seriously?
So I bought
on who? What's his name?
No, I bought.
You must have had stubble that day.
Where was I? I was on. I feel like I was on vacation, and I bought swim trunks. And you know the swim trunks have those linings in them.
Yeah.
And my gang was rubbing against that little mesh lining. And we're walking around, moving, doing stuff. I had a bloody dick.
You need chub rub.
It was. I swear to God, I was bloody. So from now on, I always, because my hog and junk are just hanging there. I have to cut out the lining of all these swim trunks now. So now I just free ball.
Really?
Women get a little more. I'll give you what my friend Christina. I remember was like, it's like a classic story that's funny in our group of friends. Probably not funny to you guys, but when we were in college, a few of us went to Hershey Park for a weekend. Just to like hang out and have fun. Went to the amusement park.
Did you take the Hershey Highway to get there?
Yeah. So you go to Hershey, PA, and we're all staying in a hotel. We're all in college. So we had gone on all the rides all day. And if you know, Hershey Park is like half water park too. So Christina had the most chafed inner thighs because when a girl's wearing like little jean shorts and you're on like
this product.
No, but when a girl's wearing like little denim shorts, like a college girl would, and you're on water rides, walking around an amusement park all day, her thighs were chafed. And
I can see that.
We get back to the hotel and we're like, who wants to go on the beer run? And I was like, I'll take a ride with you. I'll take a walk with you, Christina. And my buddy Jeff and Walter, like, yeah, we'll go too. So it's 3 dudes and Christina. And we were walking through the lobby of a hotel with a case of beer. And Christina's like waddling, saying, oh, because her thighs were hurting so much. And everyone's like, what are they doing to her? But women do get more thigh chafe, I think, than men.
You know why they decided not to do it?
Think what they're wearing.
Thighs.
No one wanted to admit that they were in the Chub Rub Club, which is what they sort of jokingly made up.
Chub Rub.
Because Cuban was like, I'll admit it, I'm in the Chub Rub Club. No one wanted to be.
It's very
or take
uncomfortable.
ownership of like I'm chubby or I have big thighs, so this happens to me all the time.
Very uncomfortable because once it starts, it happens.
Chub Rub.
Then the irritation irritates the irritation, and it's just like a feedback loop of irritation. So unless you're doing something to prevent it or cushion it, then it will just get worse and worse, especially if you're active.
And
Chub Rub.
I'm in the Chub Rub Club, and I'm not a consumer of this product.
that girl, look at,
How much are they?
Spot, when they $8.99 for a Chub Rub patch.
That's pretty good.
Spot, the girl they put in the ad looks like she's so fucking, like she's got a great body. Do you think that girl's thighs are chafing that much?
You don't know how you don't know.
They clearly don't have the Toblerone tunnel.
I mean, that's just
a great body.
That's a stock image, Rich.
I know, but I'm saying like a girl like that, I don't know if she's chafing that much.
Like this girl's chafing. She's the creator.
Well, you know what? Good for her. Great product. If people need it, if everyone's chafing more than I thought.
My wife, I asked my wife.
But it's something, you know what she said? It's something, this is why I bring it up today. Something that no one really talks about. Like, in other words, no one would have known that Mark Cuban and Robert Herjavec both had this issue.
They're in the Chub Rub Club.
They're in the Chub Rub Club, but no one wants to really bring that up because no one talks about that stuff.
Man, just the other day,
like,
someone said something just the other day where I was like, oh, yeah, that is true. Everyone does that. It was one of these things where it's like, if you didn't ask, you wouldn't have.
What is it?
I'll never remember. It was like, oh, you do that too? And it's like,
jerk off. Kristen has thick thighs. I'm sure they're rubbing together, but she's always wearing like yoga pants or tights or.
Maybe you have a little anniversary present for Kristen. I got you Chub Rub.
Yeah, birthday's in 2 months.
That's why I always carry a Toblerone in my back pocket.
For
Make
the
sure.
test.
Yes, just to give the test first. Toblerone tunnel.
Joe saying he wishes he had Chub Rub when he was in Iraq. I'm guessing when you're sweating and you're in the military and you're doing all this these missions. I get it.
But like the average dude on his everyday.
Nah, a good pair of boxer briefs will prevent it. But women don't have that luxury. Women have to wear the sexy panties.
Maybe we got to give credit to our briefies that we're wearing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd have more of this issue if it wasn't for the choices I made. So, hey.
If you had Lucy's, they wouldn't, you'd be having chub
Wear some underwear, man.
And by the way, when you speak about the gym, Covino nailed it. And I know Spot will say, I've been telling you for years or something, probably. It's the stair machine.
I suggested it.
I say there he is.
Didn't I suggest it?
Yeah.
I mean, I had done it in the past.
It's so tough.
No.
I get a headache afterwards.
I had done it in the past, and I sort of was off it. I mean, I did it years and years ago because I remember doing it in the 2000s because I remember on the Stern Show, Robin Quivers credits getting in good shape because during 9/11, she didn't have the energy to go up all those stairs, those flights of stairs. And I remember in the 2000s when I was doing like different types of cardio.
Drinking those lemon cayenne pepper teas.
Yeah, and I remember thinking to myself like, yeah, you know what? I want to do the stair machine. I did it. I was off it. Now that I'm back on it, 10 minutes at the beginning and 10 minutes at the end of your workout is such a better little cardio quickie than doing any treadmill, elliptical, anything like that. The stair machine's awesome.
20 minutes. We said, remember we were trying to like, when was it? It was a few months ago. We were like, we're going to get our bundas in shape. Bunda. And I said the best, I mean, I know it doesn't create a bubble butt, but it really does get your heart rate as high as if you were jogging for a few minutes.
Yeah, I hate it. Rich called me up while I was on it. I could barely talk. I was like,
but I'm telling you, you gotta get that. You gotta get 20 minutes, solid 20 minutes. You gotta work up to that.
Covino and I were on side-by-side stair steppers, and we're having like a breathing heavy conversation on Friday. I was like, so what do you think? Next week, should we do the show on the show?
Did you do the thing like the booty girls do? And did you like sidestep and just face each other as you were doing it?
Yeah, and then we did this thing spot where every other step we did this deal. But it's like,
right.
Extend your leg like the girls do on the
jet it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I wear my Chub Rub patches.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like, I feel like
it's fucking, and there's a hump. You have to
feel
get
like
over
it's
the
made
hump.
a difference. I feel like it's made a difference so far.
You have to there's a hump to get over. Once you're past the 12 to 13 minute mark, you can coast to 20.
You ever try to pinpoint
You're right about that. I feel like, I'm at a point where I'm in cruise control now.
Yeah, then I can keep going.
But then it's tough. Like getting
you set those little mini things. You're like, all right, I can do.
You know what it's like?
Another minute.
It's like I've never ran a marathon, but you know how some people say like you hit a certain point, and once you get like you get past like the tough part, and then like you could cruise for a while. I feel that way with cardio. I felt that way at Orange Theory when we used to do that. Like in the beginning, I'm like, this is fucking awful. Then you get in the zone, you're like, all right, I guess I'm just running now. I don't know. You ever try to pinpoint what it is where when you start to see like, I'm feeling better, and you're trying to pinpoint what is it? Is it that I'm eating a little healthier, or is it that I'm doing a little more cardio? What
Maybe it's a little bit of everything.
Like I'm like, what am I doing that's been making a pretty decent difference? And I can't pinpoint. So I'm like,
it's not the pec deck.
Pec deck is my favorite, dude.
Pec deck is pretty good. I like the pec deck.
Well, pec deck is one of the core exercises if you want to have, as I call it, t-shirt bod. If you want to look good in a t-shirt, you need your shoulders, your chest, and your arms to look good. So
but you're not
curls,
the bump,
pec
like
deck,
Spot said.
Yeah, you got
shoulders.
It's all about the
But
bump.
you know what I've noticed too, though, Spot? And Rich said this the other day, and I knew what he meant. He goes, but I know my body. Do you know your body? Right? It's like when I do lift heavier, I tend to eat more and gain more weight all around. And that's not the look that I want. Right? So now I'm like thinking I gotta stop the bump and lifting heavy. And I just started lifting light again in the past month. Like because when I lift heavy, I get bulkier and I put on more weight. Yeah, and that weight is distributed all over. And then I got
and you could say all you want, Spot, but he knows his body.
I see it in my face. I see it in my
But
build.
what are you? But what are you eating more of? Is the question.
No matter what he's eating more of.
It's just I'm eating more and I'm getting bulkier and I don't want that.
Are you eating
more weight?
Protein, or are you eating pizza? Because if you're eating more of garbage, it's going to affect you in a different way.
I bulk up too quick.
So you're trying to tell me, Spot, you're trying to tell me.
Let me tell you, the best I ever looked, right? In the past few years when I was on keto and I was thin as fuck, I didn't lift a fucking weight. I didn't have any.
You just lost fat and the muscle mass was still there underneath it.
But I looked kind of ripped because the fat was gone, but I wasn't lifting weights.
I know.
So now I'm lifting weights. I just get bulky, and I'm not like I I don't look.
Are you saying he doesn't know his body spot? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't like lifting.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
I think you have a misconception.
I know
of
lifting
what's
weight
happening
burns
to your
fat.
body.
I know muscle burns fat. I get all that.
No, I think you have a misconception of what's happening to your body.
I've been fucking doing this forever.
I think you're.
But I don't. I'm telling you, when I get bulkier, I don't look better.
But you're trying to tell.
I may be stronger.
How old are you now?
The bulk isn't
47.
coming from lift heavier weights.
But he's 46. You're trying to tell me. You're trying to tell me
I have more muscle.
You're trying to tell me 25 years of him lifting, he doesn't know his body.
Yeah, like my jackets don't even fit right because my shoulders are bigger. But then I get bigger all over.
But I just want to get the conversation straight. You're saying a guy that's worked out for the last 25 years, he doesn't know his body. Is what you're saying.
I don't know my diet.
You're saying like I just want to make it clear that you're saying
just
that.
admitted it.
I don't know my diet, but I know when I lift heavier weight, I don't look better. I don't look better.
He just said the words, when I lift heavier, I eat more. I doubt he's eating more good stuff.
I'm not eating bad stuff.
But he's not eating candy.
But I'm getting bulkier and I don't like it. So like I don't like how I look when I'm bulkier.
You don't know your
I get
body
bulkier
yet.
all around.
You haven't been working out long enough.
I know
maybe.
my body very well.
All right, so a guy that's been working out. A guy that's been working out.
My body.
A guy that's been working out 25 years
from 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I didn't lift a weight.
No one's ever doubted your workout spot, but a guy that's been working out for 3 years versus 25 years.
I've developed a more intimate knowledge of my body in the last few years.
But you think
than you have in the last 20.
You think your 3 years trumps his 25 years? Is that what you're really getting at?
Leave me out of it. I'm just saying. I know when I bulk up, I don't look as good. I'm stronger. I probably have a lot more muscle.
I'm trying to make a point
I'm
trying to make a point of his
better.
know-it-all status. You think 25 years versus 3 years?
He may be right, but I don't look better.
You got a better grasp. How can that be possible? You know more in 3 years than he knows in 25? You genuinely feel that way or jokingly feel that way?
It's the equivalent of...
being serious,
it's the equivalent of his friends.
Say I was in a field house.
It's the equivalent.
In junior high.
Full circle.
But you
it's
think
the equivalent of his friends still wearing carpenter jeans and listening to what was it? Pearl Jam. That's what it is. I'm over here listening to fucking SZA, and he's over there listening to fucking Pearl Jam.
But you're not listening to what I'm saying, dude.
Full circle.
I don't think it's really interesting.
I'm not debating.
As Chillafel said, Spot's Mr. Olympia. He's worked out for 3 years.
I'm not debating Spot's knowledge, right? Listen to what I'm saying, please, for a second before you like judge or whatever. When I bulk up, because I'm lifting heavier and I'm consistently at the gym,
I don't think the bulk is coming from the weight.
I have more muscle, dude. And more muscle makes me bulkier. So then, yes, I'm eating more because I'm hungrier, because I'm burning more at the gym, right? So I'm just getting bulkier. I don't look better. So I need to cut the weight down.
I'm not saying you don't know what you're talking about, Spot. I'm saying you're discrediting 25 years of a guy going to the gym since he's been at the junior high field house in high school playing baseball and football. And you're saying that your knowledge surpasses him because you had a heart surgery and since then you've taken the gym serious. You're saying with a serious straight face that 3 years of you surpasses the knowledge of 25 years of him. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think he's adjusted to his age, to new knowledge about workouts and diet. Yes. That's my answer.
So your answer is
I have a lot more muscle than I had
Rich.
when I looked.
You're asking me a question, and my answer
so your answer really is yes.
Is yes.
And you
if you find any picture where you think I look good, I wasn't lifting.
You asked the question. I gave you an answer.
No,
I know that has to do with diet, but I know it also has to do with like when I'm lifting heavier, I'm bulkier.
I admire it. I admire your cocksure attitude. That's wild. I love it. Dude, if you were confident that way with women in your 20s, you would have been banging supermodels.
Such a moot point.
Wow. Jeez. Interesting. But I think everyone does know.
I'm not.
I think everyone does. I think everyone does. I think
Rich is debating something that I'm not debating at all.
Exactly.
I want to make that very clear too.
I know.
I'm not debating Spot at all. I'm just telling you that when I lift and I'm getting bulkier, I don't look better. To me, it's counterproductive. You may say, "Oh, he's healthier." You may even say I have like less fat or something because I'm more muscular, but I don't like how I look. So it cancels it out for me. Like I don't care. I want to look good. And I look better when I'm thinner, and that's when I'm not lifting.
No, by the way, Kerry, you got to
lifting heavy.
I don't discredit Spot at all. He knows so much because he went to a high-end trainer. He's really honed in on this when he had a health scare that almost took his life. Spot changed his whole life around. Spot knows a lot. Spot's well-informed. I'm just saying what comes with his well-informed nature almost seems like you don't know. And it's like,
well, I know
you
it's
don't
diet,
know.
and I admit it. I'm terrible with my
He
diet.
said the words, I'm eating more.
But I'm not eating more
When
junk.
I work out, it's like that's the correlation.
I'll give you a great example of knowing your own body.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I never once discredited you if you've noticed.
No, you did.
When?
You said you think you know more.
I think you know more in 3 years than he knows in 25 years. That's you don't think that would be construed as a little arrogant?
I can't answer that.
How are you?
I don't know.
How are you being so?
Because I struggle with it. I know what to do. I don't know.
Like I said to him.
Yeah.
I said to him, go to
For me, it's diet.
Go to a train. Go to the Rooster. I'll set you up. He'll love it. And then you will have a more like intimate knowledge of what you need to do for your goals. There is a way to work out, build weights, and lean out. Do I know it? No, sort of. I kind of did
Well,
it.
that would be less weight.
I was
more
lifting.
reps.
I was building up weight and getting leaner and leaner.
The crazy part about fitness,
I was building up weight and getting leaner and leaner.
The crazy
I would
part.
argue Covino and I have a similar body type.
The crazy part about fitness.
We're both very barrel chested. We carry everything in our torso, and I would argue it's very similar.
The crazy part about fitness,
right,
is that there's no.
I'm definitely barrel chested.
Yeah.
The crazy part about fitness
Same.
is there is no tricks or secrets. Everything is out there. It's easy to learn the right thing. It's the execution of it. That's what it is. Like if you've gone to the gym for years of your life and have seen trainers and have talked to nutritionists or like you
That
know what the
information
right
does change though all the time.
when
right?
I was at my leanest, I was eating, forcing myself to eat all day, forcing.
No, I agree. I was thinking about that. I was like,
8
what
or
was I
9
doing?
o'clock at night, and I'm like, I got to eat again.
Eating more eggs, more protein. But again, I wasn't lifting. I don't like the bulk that I get when I lift. You know, everyone's got different goals.
I think that again,
One day you'll listen to me.
all the information is out there. There's no tricks. It's a matter of executing it and sticking to it. And that's the tricky part. No one's going to tell you something you don't know already. You've learned it. You've learned all these little things over the years. It's a matter of sticking with it and really just doing it. There's no like tricks. There's no secrets. I don't know. That's all I think.
How did we get here? Rich brought up the Stairmaster. It's just tough.
Yeah.
I've been doing it. It's tough. I get a headache. I'm so exerted, my head hurts after. Serious.
No, I mean, I feel like I've learned so much over. I know everything there is to know about this type of stuff. It just I don't have the willpower to execute it or the want to execute it. If there was a bet, like, hey, $10,000 if you do, you know, like on the Stern Show back in the day when they did like bits and stuff, it would be like, hey, which one of these guys could be the most ripped in the next 2 months, and they get 10 grand or something. If you put a competition in front of me or something like that, I would know how to win it because I know what to do. It's just fitness and diet has nothing to do with information. It has to do more with once you have that information, sticking with it. It's really a matter of just doing it. That's the toughest part. You know what I'm saying? Like some things you just can't figure out the answer to.
I know my
The answers
problem.
are in front of you. And
Jordan
Spot,
and
you
I-
can at least admit that.
we've been discussing
the
this.
answers are there. You just had when you were in your primo days of working out with the Rooster, it was your focus.
I'd say yes and no. I'd say if anything, there's an oversaturation and so many fucking schools of thought out there as to because I've tried to do my own research after the fact and kind of maintain it. And like this person says do this person says do this person says work out this way, this person says work out this way. And you're trying to pull in bits and pieces, and the bits and pieces don't necessarily all mesh together. So having a set plan of fitness and nutrition that kind of connect together and work together in conjunction is key. you can't really pull bits and pieces from different things.
Yeah, my biggest problem spot goes back to what you said, not eating enough for sure.
Of the right stuff.
Of the right stuff.
Yeah. I could eat a fucking pizza all day long.
But you know what I did though? This is funny. I was watching Chris DiStefano, right? You know him. You said you liked him.
I like Chris DiStefano.
He got trim, and somebody asked him how he did it. And he said he saw Elon Musk talk about this fasting app. He said it changed his life. I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna keep something. I'm gonna do that to keep me accountable of when I'm eating, because you don't want to eat too late if you're just sitting around.
Nate Bargatze?
He trimmed up too.
Trimmed up big time.
Segura did too. Maybe there's like a whole
comedic
there's
world.
like a comedic challenge.
Hold on, let me give it props then. It's called the Zero app, I guess, or Zero. Like, I don't know. It's like a fasting app. So, like, in other words, Rich, look, I ate late last night. It was Sunday night. I stopped eating at 9. According to this, I can't eat until 1 today.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay. I mean,
because then your body gets into fat burning zones.
Most people do agree that intermittent fasting does work. Like
Yeah.
there's
I've
very
never done
little
it long enough to
argument
really see
against
result.
it. It depends on if you want to do it. But intermittent fasting
keeps you on a. For me, it's just going to keep me on a more disciplined schedule. Like, yeah, it's too fucking late to be eating, or I can't eat yet. Otherwise your body's resetting all the time. So. Look, do your best. That's all. I'm not trying to preach anything here. I was just saying that I agree with Rich on the Stairmaster. And I've realized when I lift heavier, I get bigger, and I don't like that.
Who's the master?
Now that I'm working with the Rooster again.
Yeah. You're going to get ripped again.
Do you want me to invite him on the show? He can.
Yeah, I would love to talk to him.
He would always be welcome on the show, but like, I feel like
listen,
we can talk about my workout plan and what it's going to do.
Part of why you're ripped when you're with the Rooster is the same reason a lot of celebrities are ripped. Because having someone motivate you is more.
Oh, I agree.
One of the last times I went to a trainer on a regular was when I was living in Jersey. And this guy, it's a matter of when you go to the gym by yourself and you're like, all right, let me do a set of 12, 10, 11, 12. All right, rack it. When you're with a trainer, he'll be like, nah, 3 more. And you're like, oh. And he's like, come on, you got this. A trainer is really, I'm not saying they don't have information. Your guy is a knowledgeable motherfucker. I'm saying, I feel like the trainer, 90% of the trainer for me is someone pushing me. That's why Orange Theory was good, because if you slack, they're like, come on, let's move it.
Yeah, but like after one workout with the, just because
I need someone telling me what to do.
But it's also a knowledge too. Like he had me doing these lunges in a certain way where like my foot was elevated in the back. I wasn't using any sort of specialty equipment other than 2 little risers and 2 weights in my hands. And just the way I did it, I couldn't walk the next day.
Yeah, dude.
But like I've done split squats, I've done lunges, I've done all that shit.
The right trainer can mix with the right diet. You'll get ripped quick. It's less about the knowledge and more about the willpower with the food.
I actually like Spot's analogy, to be honest. I don't want to give you any fucking credit, but I like your analogy of Pearl Jam.
I was trying to make a full circle.
Of the Pearl Jam reference, right? Like, I'm still doing workouts I learned in high school, right? That's the truth. So, Spot's doing I'm doing Rocky Balboa workouts. He's doing Drago workouts.
It's not about...
It's the truth, but I do know my body saying, I don't need to lift this heavy. I don't. Because I just put more weight on. That's not good for me.
What you're doing isn't wrong, but it's about like maximizing your workout and diet together.
I don't think we disagree as much as you think. I'm just saying that a trainer and a nutrition plan are simple, like to understand. The opposite is simple to execute. Like if you have your trainer combined with the discipline to keep your diet, you'll be ripped. I just think most people, including myself, the idea of sticking to a strict diet plan and having that motivational trainer, that could make a difference for everyone. Any celebrity that's ripped, it's because they have someone cooking them healthy meals and they have someone pushing them. Yeah, they're putting in the hard work, but
what's with all the fat comedians getting ripped?
Like, I always think about this whenever I saw like Dawson's Creek, right?
Yeah.
And the Dawson's Creek boys were shirtless.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do anything for me. It's not where it started. But they were very just like soft and like no definition, but like that was like the heartthrob in shape kind of look in the 90s. Now someone on fucking any Netflix teen show takes their shirt off, they have like a 12-pack. So it's clearly we've clearly changed not only our views on fitness and what people see and want, but probably how it's done too.
See, all I'm saying, Spot's right.
Pearl Jam.
We're all agreeing.
Pearl Jam, SZA. Pearl Jam, SZA.
I think there is some truth to that, but I think the bigger truth is
Neil
that
Diamond.
I think the biggest truth is just having the willpower to do it. No?
You know what it's like, Rich? In a way, I'll give you another analogy. Like when you're swinging a bat, you're smacking the midget, as your coach used to tell you. Slap the midget.
Yeah.
Slap the midget.
But now you see all these fucking little kids with their professional swings because they got all these different fucking techniques and ways to learn them now.
Like our buddy Fresh D runs that baseball training.
Yeah, like they've complicated a swing down to the science. There's tools and apparatuses you could fucking use to get the perfect swing. Meanwhile, we were just like being taught, smack the midget. Smack the midget.
Yeah.
Smack the midget.
Like I went to the Rooster for a day, and I told him, like, I've had back pain and I have shoulder pain, and he is sitting there telling me about, okay, so you have to engage your arm this way so it'll kind of rotate the and he's naming muscles in my shoulder joint. And like he has all this intimate knowledge. He's like, I did cadaver studies, and we looked at how all the muscles interweave and how every shoulder joint is different, and I'm like, let's do it.
Damn.
So that's where, like, it's not just motivation. There is knowledge that is provided that you wouldn't know on your own unless you're doing training or you're doing a lot of online research. You know,
little kids in Little League nowadays, they're talking about fucking bringing their hands in tight, getting their wrists out, fucking launch angles. Rich is still smacking midgets. Yeah. Smacking midgets.
It's just, like how do,
But I still stand in my ground on that one thing. Like I know when I lift heavier, I get bulkier all around. I don't like that. That's not the look I'm going for. It's not good for me.
Yeah. I think there's so many layers we could wrap it up with. Spot's right on the things are always evolving. I think I'm right on saying, hey, the information is no secret. It's out there. How to get in shape, how to lose weight is out there. It's a matter of executing it. And
discipline.
And discipline. That's really what it is, right? I mean, ta-da.
Don't be like John Morant. He's an idiot. Maybe we'll talk more about that on Fox Sports Radio.
Well, I do want to say this because I can't say it on Fox Sports. I'm fascinated. Who brings this up? Does Chris Rock bring it up? Like one person could say one thing and someone else could say the same thing. One person's canceled and one. Didn't he bring up something like that in the beginning? Spot, you watched it twice. Didn't Chris Rock say that selective outrage, like one person could say the same thing as someone else?
It was about, he's like, people love to play Michael Jackson, but Kelly?
Yeah, he's like selective outrage.
I feel like we said that recently in studio, remember?
Yeah. Like, we can play we can't play R. Kelly, but we can play Michael Jackson. Same crime. Someone's got better music.
Someone just got better music.
Yeah. Selective outrage. Right?
Don't be quoting Chris Rock and then telling me his shit was whack.
I'm saying. A selective outrage.
No, I heard that exact statement from you like 2 weeks ago because we wanted to play R. Kelly, and I'm like,
I don't get
want
credit.
to play R. Kelly.
Everyone steals my thoughts.
You're like, people playing Michael Jackson. Same thought.
Selective outrage. Here's my thoughts.
It's the name of his special.
Selective outrage.
It's the name of the special.
Like, I'm not saying I don't want you to think I'm team Kyrie, but Kyrie Irving says some questionable dumb shit about the Jewish community and everything. So Kyrie, let's just keep in mind words, right? So
vaccines.
Kyrie said some shit about vaccines, some Jewish people. So Kyrie said dumb shit.
You're also fucking creating a false narrative. He didn't really say shit. He just fucking put a link out to a video, some shit that he watched.
Retweeted some shit.
He didn't preach anything.
And you know what? He didn't want to get the vaccine, where a lot of people didn't want to get the vaccine.
I never criticized him. I was just saying, man, he's going to get backlash. He knows it.
Kyrie just did some dumb shit, right?
Right. And especially knowing the temperature, of our society today.
The world hates Kyrie. And Spot, would you at least back me up in the fact that Kyrie said some dumb shit and argued the vaccine, where the narrative in especially big major cities like New York, like if he was in Texas, he wouldn't have got the backlash that he got in New York because New York was very liberal about the vaccine.
Get the vaccine.
All right, so vaccine and the Jewish stuff. Kyrie said some dumb stuff. The world hates him. Ja Morant is on video with a gun and doing all the shit.
Remember, he's also under the watchful eye because he's been accused recently of assault.
So Ja Morant is getting like almost like a weird layer of sympathy from every person on ESPN and Fox. Like, yeah, he's just learning to be a better person. He's a young guy that's mixed up in the wrong crowd and this and that. And like, he's going to take a few days away from the team. And guys like Stephen A. and guys like,
He's been suspended.
Who's the dude from ESPN that
Jalen Rose?
Jalen Rose. Yeah, Jalen's like, my man, I was him. I was, you know, I grew up around rough people.
I didn't even know what he was talking about.
All I'm saying is that I'm not saying Ja Morant should be canceled. I'm just saying it's so odd how a guy waving around a gun and doing some dangerous shit, everyone has this like, yeah, he's going to get help and sympathy. But Kyrie says some dumb shit and
you want his blood.
So it shows like, yo, words carry more weight than actions in 2023.
Oh, yeah.
Actions and words far superior to actions in 2023. You could say...
And Ja Morant is way too talented to be making these kind of mistakes.
Oh, yeah, and I'm rooting for Ja to get his act together and make the right moves. I'm not hating on Ja Morant. I'm just saying Ja Morant wants to be... I agree with Chris. Ja Morant wants to be a badass. He admitted he messed up and he's going to get help. But what I'm saying is, since when do dumb words carry more weight than potentially dangerous actions?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, no one's right. I mean, Kyrie's sort of a eye-rolly guy, you know, but...
Like Chris Rock said, anyone who says words hurt has never been punched in the face.
Let's see, I'm mixing two different groups. Let me just... I guess I'm curious what people think, because I don't want Ja Morant to get canceled. But what I'm saying is it just does seem, though, like waving around a gun, hanging out with his, you know, let's be honest, like bad friends.
He's throwing up gang signs and
Throwing up gang signs, waving around a gun.
On his own social media. He like, put that out there.
There's a sense
what a dumbass.
There's a sense of like sympathy for him to get back in action and like correct, you know, like get on the right page, where Kyrie was sort of just fucking told that he's a jerk off. So I'm just saying, like, neither one I'm like rooting against or for. I just feel like it's weird that actions seem to take a second place finish to words. Right. You say some dumb shit
because people turn it into political things, and people can't handle a different opinion.
Yeah, I'm rooting for.
That's really what it comes down to. People can't handle a different opinion, or that you agree or disagree with their way of thinking.
I want
that holds more weight than
I really do. I like
Ja Morant.
I think Ja Morant
holding the gun.
Yeah, but hateful word, like Mark said, but Kyrie came from a place of hate. Well, according to some, but even if it was hateful, it's words versus actions. Like, we really harp on words a lot. Like, someone says the wrong word,
Ja Morant could hurt some, like really
waving around a gun, doing gang signs. To me, call me crazy, but gang signs and a gun, dumb, foolish words. But I guess they're all equal. What do I know, dude? I know I want to see Ja do well. He's a young kid that probably just surrounded himself with some rough kids along the way. Happens to a lot of people in life.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I want him to come out on top, because I love watching him as a player. He's probably a good young kid, but...
He's one of the best.
Point is, there is a lot of not sympathy, but like understanding, like, yo, man. Like, you see Stephen A., some of these guys were like almost in tears. Like, yo, like Stephen A. was like, let me tell you something, young brother, you got to get on track. Like, there was a lot of that sentiment where Kyrie was like...
Too, right, yeah, Plaxico Burress said, learn from me. You know, like, come on.
So...
Dude shot himself.
It was just interesting. Like, I'm rooting for everyone to succeed. I don't want to see anyone's demise, whether it's Kyrie or Ja. I'm just saying it's interesting how one...
You know what it is? It's, I heard someone else say this. May have been fucking Jordan. I don't even remember. Not Michael Jordan. Jordan.
It's
like the power Kyrie has he's entitled to any thoughts that he has, but it incites the wrong people.
No, that's the problem. That was the Donald Trump thing, right? Like you may have been like, yeah, I like Donald Trump. But then you realize, well, I might like him. Some stupid people you could hear Donald Trump say something and be like, oh, this guy. And you could still be like, well, I sort of like him. Well, he said some dumb shit. That dumb shit could stir up
the wrong people,
bad people. And
So
now that's
Kyrie
Donald Trump in a nutshell, right?
Could, and stir up the wrong people with his views.
Matt Ellis said Kyrie is neither young nor dumb, and Ja, you could say, is a young guy that is learning where Kyrie should know by now. He's a veteran. He's an older guy. I don't know, man. Just it's interesting. Again, with Ja, you're watching someone potentially throw their life away. I agree. Rashawn, I saw Stephen A. say, and I keep saying young brother because I feel like Stephen A. said that 20 times.
It's young brother.
His young brother. He's 1 year away from like a $250, $300 million contract.
Not only that, how irresponsible. His team's fucking in it.
I know. So it's like, come on, man.
You got fucking Russell Westbrook beating you now because of his actions.
Yeah, I think Gabe is right too. I think there is a sympathy because people don't want to see this young dude ruin his life. Right? It's like Ja. It was Ja Morant and Zion. Remember when they both came in the same year? Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh man, was Ja because we debated this I remember when they were drafted. We were working at ESPN. It's like, yo, everyone's all about Zion, but don't sleep on Ja Morant. This guy's a star, and you don't want to see the star throw away his life.
I saw something over the weekend that Michael Jordan in his prime had a 4-inch. His vertical was 4 inches more than Ja Morant's though. That's how nasty Jordan was. I don't know how accurate that is. I'm just telling you what I read. So either way,
I'm just hoping everyone does all right. I never, you know what the thing is? I always tell you, I never root for someone's demise. I want everyone to be happy. Let Ja Morant be a superstar. It's just, I'm fascinated how people are quick to fucking come down on people. But when it's when it's like Kyrie, he says some dumb shit and the world's like, he should never play again. That's all. That's it. At the end.
In other words, how could you try to cancel somebody for having
dumb words,
but not when a guy's waving a gun and throwing up gang signs and accused of assault just a week before? It just doesn't add up the right way, but you're not rooting against either one of these guys.
Hey, by the way, before we get going, let me ask you one last thing.
I have shout-outs.
Yeah, shout-outs, but one last thing. Do you think Meghan Markle and Prince Harry
and Will Smith
should go? What?
It's not a prince anymore.
I'm sorry. Do you think Harry?
I wonder if Meghan and Will, if they've seen the Chris Rock special, and how does Draymond Green feel about it?
Oh, like yeah. I thought that was funny.
Nah, shit was funny.
You think
I wonder how OJ feels.
You think Harry and Meghan?
You know what's funny is that he talked a lot about the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Like Courtney was at UFC 285. Like, is her phone just blowing up the whole time?
I keep talking about you. Yeah, I wonder.
Like,
yeah.
Is she getting blown up the whole time? Like Chris Rock is fucking talking about your family right now on this big special, and is she allowed to have fun at UFC while she knows that like her family's getting shit?
You know what I did do
on a big level?
You know what I did do? I went to Twitter to see if Draymond, because Draymond loves to chat. So I was like, I wonder if Draymond joked about it yet.
But he was in the montage at the end, so it looks like they're friendly. Because they showed a picture of him and Steph Curry and Draymond.
Before we get to shout outs to end the show, and by the way, thanks for your March subscription. Spread the word, spread the cheeks. Let's get March. If anyone's credit card that didn't work, rerun that shit. First of the month was last week, so we only did a couple.
Your mom's able to subscribe.
I know. Do you think Harry and Meghan Markle will go to the coronation of King Charles? They were invited, even though they're not with the fam anymore. Do you think they still go?
They have to.
I hope so.
I mean, they were just booted from their cottage.
Yeah, maybe they'll go.
But I don't know.
You mean the original colonizers?
Yeah. I have a big shout out to start with because this guy says he loves attention, loves our show, and he goes, he loves this type of stuff.
Sure.
So shout out number one goes to Brian Orr.
Or who?
Brian Orr. Oh. Brian Orr. Guy hit me up and he said, yo, Rich. He goes, I would love a shout out on Monday. I go, will do, brother. I'll probably forget, but I want to do it. I remembered. He goes, I'm an attention whore. LOL. I love checking out the show. I know you're a busy guy, but appreciate you guys. So I said, bro, Brian Orr.
Oh, we're addicted to attention, aren't we?
I'm choosing you, Brian. I don't care who the other option is. Brian Orr. I'm going with you, Brian.
According to Chris Rock, we're all addicted to attention. We used to look for love. Now we look for likes.
True.
We used to love love. Now we love life.
But I loved his joke about eating ass.
That shit was funny.
That was fun.
See, there's funny moments.
Yeah, there was.
Everyone's a fucking critic. Everyone's a piece of shit critic.
Yeah, maybe I was high when I watched. Maybe I
I'll
was
eat your
watching.
ass. But if I hold your hand, you're my girl.
Yeah.
You know what's
I need
fun?
someone's ass tonight.
That's actually a pretty accurate statement. All right, shout
it's
outs, and I could already hear the contractors are here. Today's the day. If you saw my behind the velvet rope, my house is in disarray. As soon as I get off here,
Disarray.
I'm starting to move all the boxes upstairs to the attic.
I think I'm hanging out with them this weekend.
Oh, disarray.
This Ray's a black girl I went to high school with.
Right. Let's
So
say
Brian
goodbye.
Orr, what's up, buddy? Shout out to Martin McKay. What's up, Martin McKay? Chris Porter, Dirk Shots. What's up, Dirk?
Shots.
Laura Portella.
Everybody.
Laura
Dirk,
Portella
shots.
wanted to know, like, where are you keeping all your gardening equipment? Like, if she's got the whole garage,
yeah, what are
you
you
got a
gonna do?
shed or what's going
Oh,
on?
I mean, I only worry about the flowers, so I just have a couple little tools and some gloves
Hey, I'm
and a
just
couple.
telling you what
On the
Laura's
side of the
saying.
house, I have a little area. I keep my shit.
Bill Clemens. What's up, Bill Clemens?
Oh, old man Clemens.
Sean Perez.
Yo, Bill Clemens. When he gets older, he should insist everyone calls him old man Clemens.
Nicholas Novotny. I'd like to give him a shout out.
What
About Kerry Kuhneman or Bobby P?
Sean Perez, thank you. Rebecca Dickerson. Brett Chaffee.
Don't mind if I do.
Brett Chaffee needs those
He needs the
chub rubs.
Chub rubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of chafe going on.
Because his last name might be Chafe. Chafe. Brett Chafe. Thank you, buddy. Brett Chaffee. Glenn Benton. What's up, Glenn Benton? Charles in El Paso. Translation, The Paso.
Oh, the armpit of the world?
Yeah. Hey, Charles. Jason Nichols, what's up? And happy anniversary to my parents.
Yeah.
It's amazing. God bless them both. I don't know how they put up with each other. It's amazing.
And they have 5 beautiful kids.
Yep.
Congratulations to your parents. And
47 years.
We'll see you guys mañana. Enjoy The Bachelor tonight.
Can't wait.
And if you have a chance and you want something new, I promise you. From
the
it
Jake
looks
the
really
Snake
good.
documentary on A&E. Really good. It is really in depth. It's really good. And enjoy whatever it is you're watching.
Until tomorrow, until later today on Fox. Arrivederci, baby.
See you. The promised land.
All right, goodbye.